On the festival of the descending gods, people raise their glasses in celebration. This is a sacred annual day when gods descend to bless the world. These blessings, known as gifts, bestow a variety of useful skills upon people. In the town of Arcel, a young man's voice urgently calls out for Sina. He energetically tries to wake the sleeping girl, who groggily asks for more time. A young man named Geo enthusiastically announces that today is the festival. Still half asleep, Sina playfully accuses her big brother of being a pervert. He insists she get ready, warning they will soon be late for the prayer. After she reluctantly agrees, he tells her to at least dress herself. Leaving the room, he sighs that she is spoiled, while Sina pouts behind him. This year is important, as both Geo and his sister Sina have turned 15. The town streets are adorned with festive banners for the special occasion. Finally dressed, Sina emerges and thanks her big brother for waiting. As she lets out a huge yawn, he reflects on their shared age but different mothers. He admits to himself that he doesn't actually know all the family details. Walking together, Sina voices her nervous excitement about their future gifts. Geo's face lights up as he imagines receiving a powerful adventuring gift. He reveals his desire to be an adventurer like their father, but without the drama. His expression reveals an even deeper, primary reason for his dream. Sina offers a radiant smile, certain he will receive a wonderful gift. She playfully kicks him, vowing to support him in achieving his dream. His foot lands firmly on the path as they near their destination. Arriving at the clearing, he suggests they join the others already in prayer. He kneels, his heart pounding, and prays intensely for a useful gift. As the sun rises over the horizon, a brilliant flash of light erupts. In a moment of transition, the entire world seems to fade away. A divine voice from above considers which gift to give the praying child. A beautiful goddess appears before him, ready to bestow her gift upon him. His eyes fly open in utter shock upon hearing the name of his blessing. After the ceremony, the recipients excitedly discuss their new abilities. Sina eagerly asks her brother how the ceremony went for him. She reveals her own gift, favor of the sword god, with some uncertainty. He swoops in close, exclaiming how amazing and incredibly rare her gift is. Flustered, she thinks he might kiss her. He quickly apologizes for his excitement. She asks again about his gift, and he recalls his desperate prayer with hesitation. With a pained smile, he reveals his gift is disappointingly called Home Garden. The image of his grand adventuring dream shatters into a million pieces. A red-haired girl laughs uncontrollably, finding his gift absolutely hilarious. Geo and Sina recognize their childhood friends, the laughing Ani and a calm Sifa. Mortified that they overheard, he watches Sina worry about supporting him. Sifa offers encouragement, saying any gift can be useful if learned well. Her kind words manage to rekindle a small spark of hope within him. He glares angrily at Annie, who continues to laugh at his misfortune. A dark moment passes between them, leading to a change in the conversation. He reflects on how Sifa and Annie are adventurers he desperately wished to join. Sifa looks at him with a thoughtful and slightly pitying gaze. Annie teasingly points out that it seems he won't get to adventure with Sifa now. She continues her teasing, stating that his crush on Sifa is obvious to everyone. Utterly defeated, he slumps to the ground as the girls turn their attention to Sina. Neither Sifa nor Annie has ever heard of Sina's particular gift before. However, they agree it sounds incredibly strong based on its powerful name. Seeing an opportunity, Annie invites a shocked Sina to join their adventuring party. Sifa warmly confirms the generous offer, saying she would welcome Sina. Geo watches from the side, realizing his sister now has the chance he wanted. He silently wishes that he had also received a gift suitable for adventuring. Unsure what to do, a panicked Sina looks to her brother for guidance. He sweats, his expression tight as he makes a difficult and selfless decision. He tells her she can't rely on him forever, especially with his current skill. Patting her head, he tells her she is an adult now and must work hard. Sifa and Annie watch the poignant exchange, Sifa murmuring his name softly. With a clenched fist and a quiet, "Okay," Sina accepts her new path. Looking up with newfound determination, she declares she will be an adventurer. She bids her big brother a simple farewell as she prepares to leave. She cheerfully reveals her end goal is to make a lot of money and then relax. He watches her go, finding it hard to believe he is seeing her off. Crestfallen, he feels a wave of envy for her new adventure with Sifa. He kicks the ground in frustration, lamenting his seemingly useless gift. A mysterious voice suddenly asks if he would like to designate a garden. In response, a rectangular patch of his overgrown yard begins to glow brightly. He looks around wildly, wondering if he is having auditory and visual hallucinations. The glowing outline on the ground continues to shimmer with an ethereal light. The voice echoes in his head again, startling him with its internal presence. Though he doesn't understand, he timidly agrees to the voice's strange offer. With a soft boom, the weeds vanish, replaced by a perfectly tilled garden. His heart pounds in his chest as he kneels and touches the impossibly soft soil. A strange, ornate menu screen suddenly pops into existence, startling him again. The menu displays the name and level of his new home garden skill. The voice then asks if he would like to begin cultivating his new crops. A long list of available vegetables flashes before his completely astonished eyes. He finally understands that this incredible ability is the true nature of his gift. He decides to experiment, using the interface to plant a single potato. The cultivation begins, and a small sprout instantly appears in the soil. He kneels before the single, tiny sprout in the vast, empty garden plot. He is shocked, realizing he didn't even need to plant a physical seed. He laughs in utter disbelief at how simple the process of growing is. Deciding to test it further, he fills the entire field with 10 different crops. After finishing, he notes that no seeds have visibly appeared on the surface. The freshly tilled earth remains quiet and seemingly unchanged for the moment. Still confused by his gift, he decides to check on it again later. An hour later, he returns to find a sublime and fully grown garden. He realizes this miraculous growth, which would normally take months, is his gift's power. He holds a glossy, perfectly ripe tomato, marveling at its incredible quality. The voice offers to harvest the crops, revealing it can read his very thoughts. Stunned by this revelation, he gives a simple, silent nod of agreement. A bulb of garlic on the ground gives a sudden and distinct twitch. Nearby, a large head of cabbage shuffles slightly in the rich, dark soil. With a great pop, all the vegetables erupt from the ground around him. Carrots and potatoes bounce around his feet as if they are truly alive. Pumpkins leap through the air, landing themselves perfectly in a nearby bowl. He watches in amazement as the harvest sorts itself into neat, organized piles. Geo stands amidst a bounty of magically harvested vegetables, trying to process the baffling phenomena. His thoughts trail off in a moment of quiet contemplation, a bead of sweat on his brow. Suddenly, his face lights up as he realizes how incredibly handy this power is. A question of safety arises as he wonders if the magically grown produce is actually edible. He examines a tomato, observing that it has stopped moving and looks perfectly normal. With a decisive chomp, he takes his first bite of the mysterious, glistening fruit. An explosion of flavor overwhelms him. He declares it's super sweet and unbelievably good. He marvels at the firm flesh and plentiful pulp, as sweet as fruit but perfectly acidic. Munching away, he feels he could eat a ton, amazed this is just mid-quality. A thrilling thought occurs. Perhaps all the other vegetables are just as amazing. Meanwhile, Sina and her new party arrive at the gates of a town full of wonder. A close-up shows the intricate design on a character's belt buckle and armor. The trio walks through a vast, beautiful meadow, the landscape stretching out before them. In a wide shot, the adventurers traverse a hilly terrain under a cloudy sky. Sifa explains that a nearby dungeon is controlled by the Lord of Arsal for adventurers. Sina's eyes sparkle with excitement at the thought of getting rich from dungeon resources. Her companions suggest she practice her sword swings against weak monsters to get used to combat. Sifa believes Sina's sword gift will help her improve her skills very quickly. Suddenly, Annie senses a monster, swooping into a defensive stance with her dagger drawn. A pot-bellied goblin emerges from the tall grass with a menacing thud. Sifa confirms there's only one, making it the perfect opponent for a novice adventurer. Sina takes a practice swing, her blade cutting through the air with impossible speed. Sifa is left stunned, admitting the sword moves so fast she couldn't even see it. With a beaming smile, Sina asks if she did well, confident she can defeat the goblin. She dashes forward alone, ignoring her friend's worried cries about the danger. Filled with certainty, Sina knows she has the power to defeat the creature before her. The goblin hurls a rock, and her friends scream her name in alarm. With a casual whoops, she effortlessly bats the projectile aside with a clang. Her blade slashes through the air with a swift, cutting sound. She brings her sword down in a powerful arc, slicing cleanly through the goblin. Sifa and Annie can only stare, their faces a mask of pure shock and awe. Sena whirls in celebration, joyfully exclaiming that she beat the monster all by herself. Her companions look on, their expressions a mixture of surprise and utter bewilderment. Sifa mentally catalogs Sena's incredible guts, power, and unflinching willpower to kill. She recognizes the raw, innate skill with a sword that Sena possesses. Sena finds a gleaming object, while Sifa realizes they have found an unexpectedly talented person. The scene shifts to a quiet town street under a cloudy evening sky. Gio is startled from his cooking as Sena stomps in, announcing her return home. He welcomes her back, asking about her first adventure as dinner is ready. Upon hearing she fought a monster, Gio swoops over in a panic, asking if she's hurt. Sena nonchalantly reassures her overly worried brother that the monster was actually super weak. He presents a lavish, steaming stew made with vegetables he harvested that day. As Sena takes her first bite, Gio leans in, anxiously asking how it tastes. Her cheeks are puffed out as she chews, her expression unreadable for a moment. Her eyes fly wide open in bliss as she declares the food is incredibly good. She marvels at the stew, exclaiming that every single vegetable is unbelievably tasty. Gio's face lights up with a blush of pure pride and happiness at her reaction. Sena notes the meal is different than usual, and he confirms it's not his normal stew. Excited by her praise, Gio eagerly takes a bite to try it himself. He trembles with delight, his eyes squeezed shut in ecstasy as he savors the flavor. The siblings eat with gusto, agreeing the vegetables are on another level from before. Gio is happy to see his sister enjoying the meal so much as she praises the food. Her curiosity piqued, she asks where he bought these amazing vegetables. He just chuckles mysteriously while she continues to eat with great enthusiasm. She eagerly asks for seconds, but her brother tells her to listen and follow him. After the meal, Sena pats her full stomach contentedly, having eaten too much. Gio leads her outside, grandly revealing a thriving vegetable patch in their yard. She asks if this is the power of his home garden gift, and he confirms it is. Her eyes sparkle with joy at the thought of eating such tasty food every day. Gio smiles wistfully, admitting he's still envious of adventuring-type gifts. Sena reassures him his gift is incredible too, already drooling at the thought of more food. As she hops, a small crystalline object tumbles from her pouch to the ground. He notices she dropped a rock, which rolls to a stop by the garden. Sena explains it's a magic stone from her adventure, offering it to him. Gio looks at the stone, his eyes widening in confusion at her offer. He asks her what she means, recalling that magic stones are just solidified mana. She doesn't mind giving it to him, but he wonders what she plans to do with it. He takes the stone, telling her to wait as he kneels by the garden. The magic stone is used, dissolving into the soil with a flash of light. With a hopeful smile, he wonders what his surprisingly amazing garden will produce now. Gleaming teardrop-shaped objects begin budding on a plant, leaving him in disbelief. He reflects on his gift, a power that creates fields and harvests delicious crops. But now, after using a single magic stone, his garden has grown a meat tree. His eyes are wide with shock, questioning what is happening with his gift. The scene shifts to the outskirts of the Arcel dungeon, a dark and ominous place. Ferocious bat-like monsters swarm as the new chapter, hosting an angel, begins. Sena slashes through a monster, sighing that she's getting tired from so many fights. Her companions remark that with Sena's ability, they are in no danger in the dungeon. After a fight, Sena spots a small magic stone and decides to take it. Sifa asks about Gio, recalling he wasn't in high spirits after the festival. She admits she's worried, while Annie surmises he's still bummed about his gift. Sena giggles to herself, prompting a questioning look from her companions. With absolute faith, she declares her brother is incredible and could take over the world. Sifa and Annie can only stare back with blank, utterly confused expressions. They ponder her statement, wondering how a home garden could conquer the world. Back home, Gio panics upon remembering Sifa said she would visit their place. His panic intensifies when Sena casually adds that Annie is coming too. He resolves to show Sifa great hospitality and make her happy during her visit. A seed of doubt plants itself in his mind as he looks on with worry. He thinks about Sifa's cool poker face, which makes her feelings hard to read. His anxiety spirals as he worries he'll just end up disappointing her instead. Sina finally gets his attention, telling him their friends want to see his garden. An idea strikes him. He can treat them to the unbelievably delicious crops. His heart thumps with hope that the amazing food will please Sifa as well. Filled with new purpose, he and Sina agree to prepare the garden for their guests. A bush covered in glistening meat-like growths is shown in the bizarre garden. Geo admits his garden doesn't feel normal anymore as Sina approaches him. She presents him with a handful of jangling magic stones she brought for him. A status screen shows his garden is at level 2, on the verge of leveling up. He recalls that using magic stones is the key to leveling up his garden's power. Geo recalls a shocking system message informing him he can now grow meat. Kneeling by his garden, he decides to level up despite his uncertainty. A system voice asks permission to use the magic stones, puzzling Sina nearby. The crystalline stones glow brightly before dissolving into the soil with a soft sound. Sina remarks on the mysterious disappearance of the stones as Geo watches. A notification flashes, confirming his garden has successfully reached level 2. He is thrilled to learn he can expand his garden and cultivate new crops. His excitement wanes slightly upon seeing the new options are normal vegetables. Intrigued by unfamiliar names, he asks Sina about shiso and sweet potato. With a dramatic flourish, a dense patch of new leafy plants appears instantly. Sina is amazed by the new vegetables. Geo explains he expanded the field. They crouch by the sweet potatoes, both excited to try the new crop. While harvesting, Geo is shocked to find the sweet potatoes are purple inside. In the kitchen, he guesses their flavor will be similar to steamed potatoes. Sina takes her first curious, steaming bite of the cooked sweet potato. Both siblings munch away, amazed by the unexpectedly sweet and delicious flavor. Geo happily eats more, realizing this vegetable is more like a snack or dessert. Sina exclaims that his gift is incredible, having never tasted anything like it. Now highly motivated, she promises to collect many more magic stones for him. Time passes, and their new productive routine continues to proceed smoothly. Sina triumphantly returns from an adventure, holding up a huge magic stone. With her help, Geo's garden level continues to increase steadily over time. He is surprised to learn he has acquired a new skill by leveling up. A glowing notification for a new skill appears, sparking his curiosity. On the day of their visit, a sparkling Sifa politely apologizes for intruding. Geo, flustered and overjoyed, welcomes Sifa, his heart pounding nervously. As he ushers them in, he thinks to himself that an angel has visited. He beams, still unable to believe how wonderful it is that Sifa is visiting. Annie points out her presence. Geo apologizes for not having noticed her. Sifa explains she came because Sina claimed his garden could take over the world. Annie, expressing her disbelief, heads toward the back door to see for herself. She scoffs, doubting a plain gift like home garden could be so powerful. Her eyes and Sifa's widen as she opens the door to the backyard. Annie is utterly stunned by the vast, lush garden that has replaced the yard. Walking through the plants, she marvels at the incredible variety of crops. Her gaze scans over flourishing vegetables and fruits growing in abundance. She is even surprised to find mushrooms sprouting from wooden planks. Annie notes how impressively everything is growing, including luscious grapes. She's shocked to see a beautiful fence, recalling the yard was once a dump. Sifa asks if this is all part of his gift, which Geo confirms. He explains that at level 5, he learned the fence generator skill. Annie admits that while she was skeptical, he has made a splendid garden. She mutters about its absurdity, noting crops she has never seen before. Geo is quietly amused by Annie's baffled reaction, recalling her earlier mockery. His attention, however, is focused entirely on someone else. He grows anxious, noticing Sifa's usual blank expression as she observes. He worries that she might be bored or disappointed by his garden. Timidly, he approaches her and asks for her opinion on the garden. Sifa reveals she was actually shocked at how wonderful she found it. Geo considers that perhaps she was just worried about him before. Deciding to reveal his trump card, he offers them a taste of his harvest. Annie is excited by the offer of freshly harvested vegetables. Geo takes a deliberate step into the foliage to reveal his greatest secret. With a flourish, he presents a tree with glistening cuts of meat on its branches. Sifa and Annie stare in utter, wide-eyed shock at the impossible sight. Sifa whispers in disbelief, questioning if she's hallucinating meat on a tree. Gio admits he was also shocked at first, but assures them it's real. Annie panics, insisting meat can't be created in a field like this. Gio calmly states that the crops are tasty and moves to harvest some. As he approaches, a cut of meat on the tree begins to rustle and twitch. A basket suddenly materializes out of thin air with a soft pop. Pieces of meat begin to jump on their own, landing perfectly in the basket. Annie screams that being handy is not the point here. She demands to know what is going on with this bizarre garden. The basket is soon heaping with fresh, beautifully marbled meat. Sifa and Annie confirm that it is indeed meat, looking fresh and tasty. Sina suggests a barbecue, but Annie is still hesitant to eat it. Gio worries Sifa will find it too weird, but she expresses a desire to try it. Annie is floored, asking Sifa if she is serious about eating tree meat. Sifa reassures her, stating it's part of Gio's gift, much to his relief. The group enthusiastically begins preparations for the barbecue. Gio cheerfully delegates the vegetable preparation to a reluctant Annie. While they set up, Annie is comically attacked by bouncing vegetables. Thick, juicy skewers of meat sizzle invitingly on the hot grill. The group gathers, their mouths watering at the incredible aroma. Sina reminds Gio to let their guests have the first servings. Gio carefully offers the first hot skewer of meat to Sifa. Annie watches anxiously as Sifa hesitantly accepts the food. Sifa closes her eyes and takes a small, decisive bite of the meat. Gio's heart pounds as he nervously awaits her reaction. A close-up shows Sifa chewing thoughtfully for a moment. Her eyes fly open, a soft glow around her as she exclaims, "It's delicious." Gio is ecstatic, thrilled that he surprised Sifa and that she is enjoying it. He beams with pride, happy that she likes the food he prepared. He then encourages a nervous Annie to try some as well. Annie takes a large, eager bite of the meat skewer. Her reaction is immediate, praising how tender and juicy the meat is. She eats with gusto, declaring it's beyond good, amazing Gio with her praise. The others agree that all the food is fantastic and they can't stop eating. Gio then emerges from the house, announcing that he has also made dessert. He proudly presents a large, beautifully baked sweet potato tart. Sifa, having never heard of a sweet potato, is intrigued by the new dessert. The three girls take a piece and eat in unison. Their faces melt into pure satisfaction as they exclaim how sweet it is. Sifa compares its sweetness to honey, while Annie marvels at the new flavor. Sina closes her eyes, murmuring that the experience is pure bliss. They eagerly ask for more, and Gio happily obliges them. Sina laughs, telling Gio she was right about his incredible gift. Sifa and Annie wholeheartedly agree with her assessment. A final shot shows the source of the feast, a truly splendid garden. After the feast, images of the grill and fresh produce highlight the garden's bounty. Sifa turns to Gio with a radiant smile, praising both him and his spectacular gift. Gio is stunned, his eye wide as he can't believe Sifa is smiling like that for him. Overcome with joy, he expresses how happy he is that she enjoyed the meal. Sifa looks at him with a gentle but curious expression, slightly puzzled by his intensity. Startled by her gaze, Gio flails in a panic, offering her more food to deflect. He reflects on his earlier worries about providing proper hospitality. He realizes seeing her smile was only possible because of his home garden gift. A quiet, transitional moment passes. In the courtyard, Gio marvels at the truly amazing power he possesses. Annie and Sifa continue to happily eat skewers, enjoying the lingering moments of the meal. Clearing her throat, Annie gets Gio's attention to pose a practical question. She wonders if he can really eat everything he grows, doubting even Sina could. Gio agrees that his garden produces far too much for just him and his sister. With a thoughtful look, Annie suggests he use his harvest for her family's shop. The group expresses their collective shock at her suggestion of using it for her shop. On a busy street, Gio is amazed to see a huge line outside a restaurant at lunchtime. A waitress in a maid uniform cheerfully welcomes customers to the bustling establishment. A close-up shows the restaurant's sign swinging with the clamor of the crowd. He observes that the line is entirely composed of blushing, captivated men. The charming waitress winks and flirtatiously invites Gio to take a seat inside. Gio is flustered and momentarily lured in before a voice calls his name. Annie appears, sternly identifying the bustling restaurant as their competitor. With a firm yank, she pulls him away, declaring his business is with her. He stammers that he was just assessing the situation as the maid waves goodbye. Annie explains that the competitors set up shop right across the street from her home. She then gestures to another, much quieter building on their side of the street. A silent, desolate-looking building is revealed as Restaurant Lucas, Annie's family home. Inside, Gio asks if it's even open, while Annie recalls it used to be thriving. She explains that a while ago, the competitors stole all their customers. Annie adds that seeing the place so desolate now is particularly heartbreaking. She explains her parents are often away, and she has been busy adventuring. This left her sister to take over the failing restaurant, which surprises Gio. Annie describes her older sister, Alicia, as a kind and gutsy woman. The sound of footsteps announces Alicia's approach from another room. The view pans across the empty tables of the silent dining room. Alicia makes a grand entrance, welcoming her dear and sweet guests. A vertical panel shows her striking a pose with sparkles. She poses dazzlingly in a very short and frilly apron dress. Alicia winks playfully, her name revealed in a caption below her. Annie screams her sister's name in mortification, while Gio is shocked. Alicia explains she must fight fire with fire by wearing a scandalous outfit. Swaying her hips, she asks Gio if she turns him on and if it will work. Frustrated, Annie slams her sister against a wall with a loud wham. She points a finger, declaring that Alicia's strategy has a fatal flaw. Annie cruelly points out that her sister's chest is as flat as paper. Alicia collapses in a spotlight of despair, utterly mortified by the comment. Clasping her chest, Alicia decides there's no other choice for her to make. She thrusts an even more revealing outfit at Annie, insisting she wear it instead. Annie furiously refuses, while Alicia argues her figure would bewitch any man. Annie glares at Gio, who seems to be thinking about how well they get along. Blushing, she accuses Gio of imagining her in the scandalous outfit. A confused Gio denies it, asking what she's talking about. In her embarrassment, she hits Gio, who cries out in pain and surprise. Alicia somberly states that it's up to her to keep the restaurant going. Annie insists she wants to help, as the place is important to her too. Alicia laments that their menu and storefront are too plain to stand out. She voices her fear that the restaurant they inherited is going to close down. Gio is shocked to learn how much Alicia is worrying about the situation. He realizes how precious the restaurant is to both of the sisters. Seeing their distress, Gio clenches his fist with newfound determination. The next day, Gio arrives and the sisters greet him at the door. He explains that Annie asked him to come and help them with their problem. With a bright smile, he suggests his home garden might be able to help them out. He dramatically presents a basket overflowing with vibrant, fresh produce. Alicia exclaims in awe at the incredible bounty of ingredients. She marvels at their freshness and quality, noting some she's never seen. Gio points out the exotic great burdock and shiso to the curious sisters. Rummaging deeper, Alicia is shocked by her next discovery. She gasps in disbelief upon finding a large bowl of pristine white rice. Alicia confirms with Annie that it's the incredibly rare grain. Annie explains it's seldom imported, much to Gio's surprise. Alicia notes this rice is whiter than any she saw before. Gio calls it polished rice. The sisters are amazed he could grow such a thing, questioning his garden's nature. Annie bluntly asks what kind of garden he has, as he can even grow meat on trees. She then suggests they try cooking with these amazing new ingredients. Annie expresses her relief that her sister won't have to resort to seduction. Touched, Alicia thanks her and declares she'll give it a try. She begins chopping the vegetables with expert speed and precision. Gio is impressed by her skill, and she proudly states she's the owner for a reason. Annie bursts in, holding a dusty old book from her father's room on how to prepare rice. Alicia admits she couldn't figure out how to cook the tough, tasteless grain. The book's cryptic instructions confuse them, but Alicia decides to try anyway. Their first attempt fails, resulting in a gooey mess from too much water. The third take ends with the rice completely burned, smoke billowing from the pot. When they run out, Gio miraculously appears with a fresh supply, astonishing Annie. A pot finally bubbles gently on the stove, signaling a potential success. The three lean in, their hearts pounding as they await the outcome. Lifting the lid, they are met with a cloud of warm steam and faces full of joy. Alicia is certain everyone will love this, as a long line forms outside the restaurant. Men in line chatter about their hunger, eager to be served by the pretty women. Alicia, in a new kimono, welcomes a customer who is drawn in by a pleasant aroma. The customers are stunned by her beauty, calling her a hottie as she presents the new menu. Annie, also in a new outfit, explains she's helping out today. The restaurant is abuzz with the clamor of curious and excited customers. Two men eagerly call for service, and Alicia warmly takes their order. Her face glows with a warm, welcoming smile as she agrees to their request. Gio, acting as a waiter, delivers a large tray of highly recommended dishes. He presents Lucas's special of the day: soup, salad, meat rolls, and rice. The customers are astounded to see such a rare grain served in a normal restaurant. A young man named Gio watches the customers in a restaurant, his heart pounding with anticipation. He takes a quiet bite, feeling a sense of pride in his gift's contribution. A customer's eyes suddenly go wide in pure shock, questioning what he is eating. His friend is equally blown away, shouting that the food is unbelievably delicious. Another diner enthusiastically praises the exceptional quality of the salad, soup, and meat. He marvels at the satisfying crunch of the great burdock in his meat and vegetable roll. His companion agrees, noting the refreshing and tasty flavor of the shiso. The combined taste of the meat, vegetables, and rice is declared to be on another level. With unrestrained joy, the group vows that they could continue eating forever. Having finished his rice, a man praises the amazing quality of the restaurant. As if by magic, a fresh serving of steaming rice appears in his empty bowl. Annie appears with more bowls, apologizing to a surprised customer for the wait. With a playful wink, she announces that rice refills are completely unlimited. The other customers are stunned, dropping their utensils in shock at the incredible offer. Outside Lucas's, the crowd clamors for second helpings, their shouts echoing down the street. A group of onlookers, intrigued by the commotion, swallows in anticipation. They decide they must try this incredibly popular restaurant for themselves. The dining room is packed to the brim with happy customers marveling at the delicious food. Amidst the clamor, Alicia asks Gio to help serve a tray of food. He observes the hectic scene, noticing how genuinely happy Alicia looks. Gio delivers an additional order to a table of smiling customers. They praise the superb quality and wonder aloud about the source of the rare ingredients. Annie suddenly grabs Gio's shoulder, shushing him and signaling for him to listen. Startled by her action, Gio asks her what the matter is. A customer expresses his surprise at how great the restaurant is. He notes that the competitor across the street has mediocre food, despite the pretty waitresses. The man declares his intention to become a regular customer from now on. Overhearing this glowing review, Gio smiles with quiet pride and satisfaction. After a successful day, he reflects that Lucas not only has great food, he concludes that the restaurant also has a truly spectacular owner. The closed sign hangs on the door, signaling the end of service for the day. Alicia thanks Gio profusely, overwhelmed with joy and gratitude for the business. She insists on paying him properly for his ingredients, glad he was able to help. Gio cheerfully waves his hand, telling her that payment is not necessary. He stands beside her, maintaining his casual refusal. Alicia's demeanor changes, fiercely insisting that as a businesswoman, she cannot take advantage of him. She declares that she will pay twice the market rate for ingredients of such quality. In the background, Annie washes dishes, thinking the proposed price is overboard. Gio worries that such high operating costs will be difficult for her to manage. He proposes a compromise, which leaves Alicia thinking he is very cool. Alicia playfully swoops in, putting an arm around a surprised Gio. Flustered, he stammers that he thinks older women are warm, fuzzy, and wonderful. Taking this as encouragement, she leans in even closer to him. She asks if he would like to date her, making his heart pound violently. The back door slams open as Annie bursts in, shouting loudly. She pulls Alicia away, scolding her for teasing the overly trusting Gio. Gio realizes, with a relieved smile, that she was only pulling his leg. Alicia smiles knowingly, deciding to leave it at that for now. She gives his shoulder a final friendly pat. Later, Alicia whispers a warning to Annie about making a move on him. A blushing Annie defensively retorts that she doesn't care what Alicia does. She quickly declares her intention to go prepare for the next day's business. Alicia watches her younger sister go with a small, amused smile. That night, as Gio and Annie walk home, he expresses his relief for Alicia. He recalls how she had been acting rashly out of worry before. Annie remarks on her surprise at how quickly the crowds had gathered. She suddenly grows serious, advising Gio to limit who he tells about his gift. She asks what he would do if someone tried to abuse his incredible power. She paints a dark scenario of him being abducted and forced to produce for others. Gio realizes why she stopped him earlier and asks if she is worried about him. Flustered, Annie claims it would just be very inconvenient for their restaurant. Gio agrees that it's important who he tells, glad that he can trust her. Annie quietly admits that he was a lifesaver for them today. He dismisses it, reminding her they're childhood friends, and she mutters that he's an idiot. She stops and turns, looking him in the eye and clarifying that she said thanks. Her genuine gratitude makes his heart give a powerful thump. Embarrassed, she gets angry and accuses him of being too upfront. As she storms off, he thinks he never expected such gratitude from her. A small, warm smile appears on his face. He reflects on the happy, bustling restaurant, feeling glad about his contribution. He is overjoyed that he was able to make so many people happy. But a shiver runs down his spine as he resolves to be more careful. A woman with a confident stride bounces along the street, chuckling to herself. She muses about the good deals she made that day. Her cheerful walk is interrupted as she notices a massive, clamoring crowd. The jam-packed line of people snakes down the street to Lucas's restaurant. She recalls that the competitor across the street used to be more popular. Peering through the window, she sees the happy patrons inside. The small merchant concludes that the Lady of Lucas has a secret. In a garden, Sina shows her brother a problem as birds flap away. A close-up reveals a plant with its petals ruined and nibbled on. Gio sighs, identifying the culprits as the local crows. A silhouette of a crow is shown against a leafy background. Sina brightly offers to exterminate them, which Gio finds disturbing. She confidently asserts that crows are nothing to an adventurer like her. She draws her gleaming sword, terrifying the nearby crows with her readiness. Later, Gio notes with confusion that none of the crows are coming. Sina suggests they might be afraid of her, playfully teasing her brother. She jokingly offers to become the garden's permanent protector. She tells him it's time for his adventure and waves him goodbye. Alone, Gio ponders a more permanent solution to the bird problem. He holds a handful of shimmering, crystalline magic stones in his hand. He uses the stones, confident they will be enough to level up his garden. A celebratory notification announces that he has reached level 10. He learns he has acquired a new skill and can now expand his garden. A small figure with a large backpack lands with a thud nearby. The sudden arrival interrupts him, and he decides to check his skill later. He cautiously greets the stranger, asking who they are. The small figure bounces cheerfully, introducing herself as the merchant, Liruka Lyria. Gio is surprised by her small stature, wondering if she's a poppet. A small, energetic girl with a large backpack stands before Gio's house. She asks Gio if he has any business with her, wondering who he is. Hearing rumors about Lucas's delicious food, she explains that she tried it herself. Her curiosity piqued, she decided to stand watch outside the restaurant. With a bright smile, she concludes that her investigation eventually led her to him. Gio's heart pounds as he realizes with a shock that she was following him. Walking past his home, she wonders how such incredible ingredients come from a normal house. Nervously, Gio wonders aloud what she could possibly mean by that observation. The mysterious girl begins to voice her guess about who he is. With a sharp glance, she correctly deduces that his abilities involve a special gift. The word gift makes Gio jerk back, remembering a friend's warning about secrecy. His panicked reaction is obvious as he stammers, unsure how to respond to her. She lets out a cheerful chuckle, admitting she was just trying to trick him. Gio is left flustered, thinking to himself that she seems rather shady. Inside, she places a bowl of apples on the table, inviting him to eat. Taking a bite, she marvels at the tasty apples, asking if he grew them. Seated in his living room, she declares her desire to do business with him. Her directness leaves Gio surprised and confused by the sudden business proposal. Her eyes gleaming, she explains he could reach more shops with her help. To ease his worries, she states that her race, the Poppets, forbids crooked deals. Gio recalls that Poppets are known as an intelligent and peaceful race. She then suggests they sign a magic contract if he is still worried. The girl explains that magic binds them to their promises, keeping secrets safe. With a flourish, she presents a scroll, a vow not to divulge his gift. She asks if he will share details about his gift after they sign. Jaeho recalls the joy on Sifa's face, wanting to please more people. The girl notes his lack of commercial knowledge, offering her professional help. Though still uneasy, Jaeho decides a proper contract should provide enough security. He agrees to sign the document, much to the girl's delight. The quill scratches against the parchment, sealing their new business agreement. As he holds the quill, its tip begins to glow with magical energy. A luminous, ribbon-shaped crest of light materializes in the air between them. Both watch in awe as the contract is magically established on the table. With the deal made, Jaeho announces he will now show her his home garden. The girl looks startled, repeating the term home garden in confusion. Outside, she is shocked to see meat literally growing on a tree. Jaeho explains the garden's miraculous properties, leaving her utterly bewildered. Heaps of vibrant, fresh produce are laid out before her amazed eyes. The sheer spectacle of it all leaves the young merchant completely stunned. She had only imagined his gift might restore freshness or increase sugar content. Whispering to herself, she marvels at what an outrageously unbelievable gift it is. When Jaeho asks what she said, she jerks back, insisting it was nothing. Jaeho grows suspicious, sensing a change in her tone and manner of speaking. A thought occurs to him as he stares with a blank, simplified expression. He concludes she has a devious side as she imagines getting rich. Walking through the lush garden, she comments on the variety of crops. Jaeho reveals he recently unlocked the ability to grow fish, shocking her. He clarifies that the fish, unlike the meat, do not grow on trees. With a bloop, fish sprout directly from the soil, a surreal sight. Laruka notes that this is a rare foodstuff in the inland region. Jaeho admits his only experiences with dried or smoked fish. With a bright smile, Laruka suggests they eat together to celebrate their friendship. The two are now in the kitchen, preparing the strange bounty. Laruka steps forward with a thunk, ready to begin the preparation. She expertly prepares the mackerel scad, explaining she learned from past trades. Her knife moves with a swift, practiced motion over the fish's scales. Jaeho marvels at the perfectly prepared glossy fillets, noting their freshness. He wonders if it's possible to eat fish raw, but they decide to cook. When Jaeho tries preparing a fish himself, he finds the task is tough. They gather salt, butter, and fresh vegetables from the garden for flavoring. Jaeho compliments Lyrica on her knowledge as the fish sizzles in a pan. He exclaims how awesome her life of travel and trade sounds. They chat while cooking, with Laruka noting his gift isn't great for adventuring. With a final thud, Laruka proudly announces that their feast is ready. Jaeho trembles with excitement, ready to taste the dish called meuniere. His expression melts into bliss as he savors the melting texture. He takes a decisive bite, the food exceeding all his expectations. The fish is incredibly tender, a world away from the dried fish he knows. He is astounded by the juiciness and the subtle, deep flavor. Turning to Lyrica, he asks for her opinion on the taste. She erupts, declaring in a rough accent that it's too damn good. Jaeho is completely shocked by her sudden change in speech and demeanor. She crunches into a piece, praising its fatty and sweet taste. Slurping some soup, she marvels at the rich umami flavor filling her mouth. She shudders with delight, confessing she's never had fish this delicious. In the middle of her praise, she gasps, realizing her slip-up. A bead of sweat rolls down her cheek as she feels immense embarrassment. Jaeho confirms that he heard her talking that way the entire time. Laruka begins to stammer, mortified by the reveal of her true self. She suddenly bows, apologizing profusely for her outburst and rattling the table. Blushing furiously, she confesses that the rough accent is her natural way of speaking. Despite her intense embarrassment, Jaeho tells her not to worry about it. With a bright, genuine smile, he reassures her that he's actually relieved. He insists the superb meal is all thanks to her culinary skill. They argue good-naturedly, each giving credit to the other's contribution. A moment of silent, mutual appreciation passes between the two frank individuals. A small giggle breaks the silence as a new understanding is formed. Laruka smiles, observing that this give and take is good for business. She suggests he call her Laruka, and he agrees, ready to grow more fish. Laruka points out that growing more fish will decrease his other crop yields. Outside, Gio wishes he had more land to expand his garden further. Laruka thoughtfully surveys the extent of his current yard space. Gio's thoughts are cut short by a loud, ominous cawing sound. A flock of large black crows descends upon the yard with a flap. The crows drool, their beady eyes fixed on the fish sprouting from the garden. Grabbing a shovel, Gio declares he can drive them away himself. He charges into their midst with a determined cry and heavy footfalls. His attempt is clumsy, swinging the shovel with more enthusiasm than skill. He looks on with a comical expression of surprise at his own ineptitude. The crows mock him, not taking his flailing attempts seriously at all. A battered Gio sits on the ground, having managed to salvage what was left of the harvest. Laruka suggests he stop growing fish, worried about the danger of the gathering crows. Feeling responsible, Gio looks troubled, knowing Laruka went to so much trouble for him. A sudden gasp of inspiration strikes him as a brilliant new idea forms in his mind. He remembers a new skill he acquired that morning, his home garden now at level 2. Scrolling through his abilities, he finds the one he's looking for, Guardian Creation. A system prompt asks if he wants to make a guardian, and he agrees, confusing Laruka. With a deep rumble, a patch of earth begins to heave violently, startling the crows. A large humanoid shape bulges from the ground as Gio and Laruka watch in shock. The earthen form continues to coalesce, its shape becoming more defined and solid. Gio and Laruka stare in wide-eyed amazement at the creature forming before them. A massive stone foot crashes down, completing the new golem's powerful form. Looking up in awe, Gio asks if the new creature is here to protect his garden. The golem thumps its chest as if to affirm its duty as the garden's protector. With newfound confidence, Gio points and commands the golem to chase away the crows. He explains to a bewildered Laruka that this is another facet of his mysterious gift. The crows scatter in a panic as the golem begins its relentless, thundering charge. The golem swings a massive stone fist, its powerful blow sending the terrified birds reeling. To their surprise, the crows fight back, swarming the golem and pecking at its body. One crow's beak strikes the golem's head with a gleam, but the attack is useless. Gio celebrates, realizing his guardian is incredibly strong and has not sustained a single scratch. The golem continues its powerful assault, swatting the last of the birds from the sky. Gio cheers for his victorious golem, which strikes a proud and triumphant pose. Lyrica watches the scene, muttering to herself about how ridiculously powerful Gio's gift is. A shiver of fear runs through her as she considers its potential for misuse. Gio reaches up and gives his new guardian an affectionate pat on its sturdy arm. Beaming with pride, he praises the golem for doing such an amazing job. Laruka observes the two with a thoughtful expression, a new plan forming in her mind. Raising his arm, Gio happily declares that he can now grow more fish without worry. A small, knowing smile graces Laruka's lips as she comes to a final decision. The garden path is shown, symbolizing the start of Laruka's departure to put her plan in motion. Laruka calls out her agreement and walks away, leaving Gio and the golem behind. After that, Laruka leaves to arrange business deals, promising she will be back soon. With the garden now protected by the golem, a period of quiet peace settles in. Laruka returns and points out the unoccupied land behind Gio's house, which she has bought. With a triumphant flourish, she announces that she is giving the entire plot to him. Gio is shocked by the casual gift, while Laruka explains it will increase his yield. She reassures a hesitant Gio that it's an upfront investment she'll profit from later. Gio is momentarily stunned by the sheer weight of her unwavering trust in him. A warm, genuine smile spreads across his face as he tells her he feels the same way. They shake hands, solidifying their pact of mutual trust and their new business partnership. Laruka suggests they quickly arrange for the abandoned house on the new plot to be demolished. A brilliant light envelops the property as Gio dismisses the need for demolition. He accepts a series of invisible prompts, confusing Laruka with his one-sided conversation. Laruka and the golem are stunned as fields spring up out of nowhere before them. The magical creation of the new garden concludes with a deafening, impactful boom. Gio gazes at the huge new garden, excited to grow all kinds of new things. Later, Sina arrives and is amazed, exclaiming that the yard has gotten much bigger. Gio explains that the land was transferred to him, allowing for a larger variety of crops. Sina is shocked to discover a grove of trees that literally grow different kinds of meat. Her tour of wonders continues with a plot where fully grown fish sprout from the earth. She then finds several more golems, which Geo explains are for added protection. Sina declares his gift has no limits, but Geo clarifies there is an area cap. Geo consults his menu, wondering what to grow next, as Sina and the golems giggle. He notices he can now cultivate medicinal herbs, his eyes scanning the new list. Sina is surprised to see Aim on the list and asks him about the rare herb. She explains that her usual apothecary is out of healing potions due to an Aim shortage. This has put her friend Sifa in a tough spot, unable to progress in the dungeon. Geo listens intently, understanding that healing potions are essential for any exploration. A vision of a happy Sifa sparks an idea. Growing Aim might please her. Having made his decision, he sets out to deliver the herbs he has just grown. He rustles through a bag, having quickly harvested a supply of the valuable herb. With the bag in hand, he sets off for the apothecary shop that Sina mentioned. He arrives at a dreary, overgrown building, a feeling of unease settling over him. A battered open sign confirms the abandoned-looking building is still in business. He gulps nervously, wondering what kind of spooky person runs such a strange shop. He pushes open the heavy, creaking door and politely announces his presence inside. The interior shelves are crammed with jars and beakers filled with dubious concoctions. He trembles slightly, noting the strange medicines and concluding no one is there. A door creaks open, and a young person in a frilly maid outfit appears, startling him. The person introduces themselves as Dennis, the shopkeeper and the apothecary's assistant. Geo is so surprised that he blurts out a question about the strange maid costume. Dennis becomes flustered, asking if the outfit is strange, while Geo tries to backtrack. A dark, ominous shadow looms, hinting that this is Dennis's special uniform. A new imposing figure emerges. Dennis identifies her as Marlene, startling Geo. Marlene, the true apothecary, mutters a gruff welcome, her visible eyes scanning the customer. Geo is taken aback by her intimidating presence, initially thinking she looks like a zombie. He decides her severe appearance fits the spooky, abandoned building-like shop perfectly. Dennis complains about the outfit, but Marlene insists it's the owner's orders. Geo concludes the strange getup must be a deliberate strategy to attract customers. He tries to be kind, telling the shy Dennis that the outfit actually looks good. Dennis begins to tremble, confessing a deep-seated hatred for the fact that it suits them. Blushing intensely, Dennis blurts out the reason for their distress. They are a boy. Geo is left utterly speechless, his mouth agape in stunned silence at the revelation. Marlene dramatically interjects, declaring that Dennis is not a boy, but a femboy. The new term only deepens Geo's confusion, leaving him sweating and bewildered. Marlene descends into a state of ecstatic fervor, gushing over Dennis's cute features. She physically embraces the struggling Dennis, calling him a natural-born femboy. Geo watches the bizarre spectacle with a deadpan expression, concluding Marlene is peculiar. Overwhelmed by the chaos, he decides to leave, but Dennis's hand shoots out to stop him. Marlene, her mania gone, slumps in despair, asking Dennis if their visitor had a reason for coming. Geo, looking slightly awkward, confirms that he did have a purpose for being there. He presents a large bowl of glowing yam, leaving both Marlene and Dennis stunned. Dennis confirms the herb's identity by its leaf shape, asking Marlene for confirmation. Marlene examines the leaves, remarking she's never seen Aim of such unbelievably high quality. Her gloved hand hovers over the glowing plants, noting their freshness and palpable mana. A realization dawns on her. With this Aim, she might be able to make high-grade potions. Geo asks about the significance of high-grade, and Dennis explains it's about potion quality. A diagram shows the 3 potion grades, with their shop usually stocking mid-grade. Dennis explains Marlene's doctor's judgment gift allows her to discern potion quality by sight. Marlene examines the herb, muttering about the unusual quality of this Aim. Her assistant Dennis is amazed, having never seen so much Aim at once. Dennis praises Geo, who deflects and says his source is a secret. With a quick glance, Geo dismisses the praise and tries to move on. A dark aura surrounds Marlene, who is intensely jealous of the attention Dennis is giving Geo. She gruffly asks Geo what he wants, her voice harsh and unwelcoming. Despite the tension, Geo announces that he has a favor to ask of them. Dennis's face lights up with recognition at the mention of the adventurer Sina. Geo then proposes his deal, cheap almayam in exchange for prioritizing his sister's party. A tense silence hangs in the air as Marlene considers the unusual offer. Muttering to herself, she agrees, noting that Sifa's party are regulars anyway. Marlene then states that she has a condition of her own for the deal. Her eye flashes with a sharp, intense light, signaling her serious intent. She dramatically declares that she must be the one to love Dennis first. Walking away from the strange shop, Geo wonders if Marlene now thinks poorly of him. He feels a warm confidence, certain that Sifa will be pleased with the arrangement. A pleasant daydream begins, with Sifa thanking him and confessing her love. His happy, solitary mumbling earns him a strange look from two women on the street. Back at the apothecary, a new potion bubbles gently over a candle's flame. Dennis questions Marlene's business sense, suggesting she should have asked for more goods. He reminds her of the tremendous value of the IM she was just given. Dennis protests that he couldn't possibly be part of the transaction. Marlene, focused on her work, is certain the herb is of no normal quality. As the final drop is distilled, she announces that the potion is now complete. Dennis peeks over her shoulder, eagerly asking if she created a high-grade potion. Holding up the glowing vial, Marlene believes she has made an extraordinary item. The potion's potency flusters her, and she mutters that she must dilute it. Sometime later, Sina returns home, triumphantly announcing her cheap potion haul. In his garden, Sifa correctly deduces that Geo sold medicinal herbs to the shop. Sina excitedly relays that Sifa was so pleased she wants to thank him somehow. Geo blushes, his mind immediately jumping to the wonderful possibility of a date. His sister muses that the potions will allow them to go on longer adventures. Geo dismisses her claims of strength, calling her a lazy newbie adventurer. Sina puffs out her cheeks, protesting that she is strong and plays an active role. Her expression suddenly hardens with focus as her senses detect a new threat. Deep in a dungeon, Sina alerts her party to a monster and dashes forward. The party confronts a massive roaring bear, which she calls a whopper. Sifa's hand glows with power as she promises to provide cover for Sina's attack. The great bear wobbles, momentarily stunned by Sifa's Empress's authority gift. With a confident smile, Sina swoops forward to engage the staggered beast. She unleashes a powerful, arcing slash against the frenzied blood grizzly. The massive creature collapses to the ground with a final, heavy thud, defeated. Her companions rush to her side, praising her for the excellent, easy victory. Sina humbly credits her hunter's nose gift and the support of her friends. Sifa notes that with Sina's help, she barely needs to use her own gift anymore. The party makes rapid progress through the cave, thanks to Sina's incredible power. Sifa reminds her friends that their success is also thanks to Geo. Her companions agree, noting the risk of going deeper without his potions. One adventurer mentions that her brother was smiling from ear to ear at the news. Sina's senses suddenly flare, and she brings the group to an abrupt halt. Peering into a dark passage, she senses something deeper within the cavern. She detects two creatures with weak, ragged breathing just ahead of them. Realizing it must be injured people, she breaks into a determined run. Her party bursts into a chamber to find two adventurers collapsed on the ground. The wounded women are groaning in pain, struggling to breathe on the cavern floor. The adventurers swoop in, determined to treat the fallen women immediately. They rush to provide aid, urging the injured party to hang on. One of the girl's eyes widens in sudden alarm at an unseen threat. Sifa swallows hard, realizing the adventurers have sustained horrible injuries. A girl with a hood kneels down, suggesting they use their healing potions. Another companion panics, rummaging for potions and doubting their effectiveness. A monstrous, snarling bear lunges from the shadows, its claws extended. One of the girls is sent crashing to the ground by the sudden, violent attack. Three enormous bears emerge from the darkness, cornering the party of adventurers. Sina tells her friends to focus on the wounded while she handles the monsters. Annie realizes that fighting three bears while protecting others will be tough. The sound of rapid footsteps echoes from deeper within the cavern. Annie's senses pick up multiple signatures approaching from the monster's direction. She realizes with relief that the approaching signatures are not hostile. A group of armored warriors appears, their leader shouting the order to fire. A volley of arrows strikes one of the bears, which roars in agony, Another adventurer is sent crashing to the ground by a bear's powerful swipe. Sifa activates her Empress's authority, feeling her body become lighter. One of the bears lunges with a powerful swipe, its claws extended. Annie, empowered by Sifa's buff, tells her friends to leave one bear to her. Sena looks at her own opponent, a new confidence shining in her eyes. With a determined grin, she agrees to the plan, ready for the fight. A skilled warrior named Eliza effortlessly parries a crushing blow from a bear. The monster swipes at her with its claws, but she dodges the attack gracefully. Annie deftly sidesteps her own target, circling the beast to find an opening. She whirls around its flank, preparing to deliver a decisive blow. With a focused cry, she announces that she is ready to strike. The bear's claws scrape her pauldron as she lunges forward to attack. She lands a successful strike, thanking the other person for their timely help. Eliza stands triumphantly over the fallen monsters as her party secures the area. The warrior, Eliza, calmly acknowledges Sifa's party, whom she recognizes. Sifa and Annie express their profound gratitude for the timely rescue. Snapped back to her mission, Annie rushes to administer a potion to the wounded. Eliza assesses the serious wounds, believing it will take several potions to heal them. Doubting their potions, Eliza orders her men to bring her own supplies. Annie uncorks one of Gio's potions, her expression one of focused concern. The liquid makes contact with the wound, emitting a soft, ethereal glow. A brilliant flash of light erupts from the potion, filling the entire cavern. The onlookers shield their eyes, stunned by the sheer power being unleashed. Everyone stares in wide-eyed shock at the miraculous healing event. Annie looks on in silent awe at the potion's incredible effect. The once unconscious girl's wounds are visibly closing, sparkling with magic. The flesh knits itself back together with impossible, shimmering speed. The healing is complete, leaving only unblemished skin in its wake. The revived adventurer's eyes flutter open, her expression one of confusion. A young woman's expression is one of confusion as a soft sound escapes her. Her companions, a red-haired girl and a blonde warrior, share her utter shock. Before them, the two adventurers' previously fatal wounds have been completely healed. Stunned, the two revived girls look at each other, still processing their recovery. On the ground lie the now empty potion bottles, the source of the miracle. Deep within the cavern, the rescued party bows, offering their profound thanks. Their rescuer, a skilled warrior named Eliza, generously offers to escort them back. Feeling well, they decline her offer, deciding to continue their exploration a while longer. As they part ways, Eliza turns back with a lingering question for them. Her companion reveals the potions were extraordinary grade, shocking Sena and her friends. Intrigued, Eliza asks where they got them, and Sena stammers about an apothecary. Noting the apothecary's skill, Eliza commits the name to memory before leading her party away. The trio watches them depart, remarking on how cool and impressive Eliza is. Later, Sifa recalls working with Eliza, praising her reliability as a B-rank adventurer. Annie adds that Eliza is enigmatic, often changing parties full of skilled warriors. Sena redirects the conversation, insisting they must discuss the miraculous potion. She and Sifa contemplate the potion's incredible, almost unbelievable power. Analyzing its effects, Sena concludes it's an unheard-of, extraordinary grade item. She believes there is only one possible explanation for its incredible potency. Her thoughts turn to her brother Gio's magical and bountiful home garden. Gio is shown carrying a large bag of his special, harvested herbs. He delivers his goods to the apothecary, who thanks him warmly for the supply. At the shop, the young assistant Dennis greets Gio with an excited, welcoming smile. He eagerly tells Gio their potions are now famous, all thanks to his aim. Dennis recounts Sena's story of a potion instantly healing a fatal wound. Gio smiles, pleased his desire to help Sifa benefited so many others. Overjoyed by the news, he presents an even larger basket of aim. The main apothecary, Marlene, appears, offering a cold welcome and a hostile stare. Dennis nervously tells Marlene that Gio has brought them more aim. Gio politely offers the basket of herbs for her to use if she wishes. The stoic apothecary hesitates for a moment, her expression unreadable. Her gloved hand takes the basket as she mutters a quiet, almost inaudible thanks. Gio is surprised when Marlene reveals his herbs have saved many people. Flustered, Gio insists it's no big deal, noting the herb's high quality. Marlene agrees, adding she couldn't have mixed the potions without his aim. Dennis beams, praising Marlene for being incredible at her craft as well. The unexpected praise completely breaks through Marlene's composure, leaving her moved. Overcome with emotion, she suddenly grabs both of Gio's hands. Her hand closes around his in a tight, grateful grip. She sobs with gratitude, declaring that it is all thanks to him. He reassures her, promising to deliver more herbs to the shop soon. Sometime later, Sina returns from her adventure with a massive pile of magic stones. She explains their progress was all thanks to the incredibly effective healing potions. The magic stones are used up, their energy absorbed by the garden. A series of notifications announces Gio has leveled up and gained new skills. He stands in his garden, contemplating his new skills and crop options. As he scans a list of new crops, something unusual catches his eye. The system reveals a shocking new option. He can now grow monster eggs. Giving into his curiosity, he decides to try this bizarre new ability. A small sprout pushes its way out of a mound of soil. The sprout quickly grows into a leafy green plant with several branches. A bud forms at the end of a stem containing a speckled object. With a soft poof, a large speckled egg emerges from the plant. Gio holds the egg, marveling at its size despite being labeled small. The large speckled egg rests heavily in his gloved hands. He gulps nervously, a bead of sweat on his brow as he considers it. He wonders if a real monster will actually hatch from the egg. He questions if it's truly okay to raise a baby monster in his garden. Despite the ease of growing it, he remains worried about the consequences. A cheerful voice announces the arrival of the merchant, Liruka, for a pickup. Startled, Gio decides to leave the egg hidden in the garden for now. Liruka exclaims in surprise, asking if he is connected to the famous potions. He confirms her suspicion, and she praises him for his outstanding work. He considers growing more valuable herbs from his newly unlocked options. He agrees to her request, telling her to sell them as she sees fit. Changing the subject, Gio cautiously asks Liruka about her experience with monsters. He clarifies, asking specifically about trading in living monsters or their eggs. Liruka is surprised, stating she has never seen monster eggs for sale. She explains that monsters are fundamentally feral and cannot coexist with humans. She laughs, adding there is no market for raising such creatures. Promising to return soon, Liruka takes her leave from the house. In the garden, the leaves around the hidden egg rustle slightly. Gio looks down at the egg, contemplating Liruka's grim words. He wonders if he could defeat a baby monster in an emergency. He soberly concludes that he would not be able to do it. He decides it's better not to let the egg hatch at all. His decision is made, a final resolution to his moral dilemma. Just then, the egg in his hands begins to tremble and fidget. He stares at the moving egg, completely dazed by the sudden development. One of his small golem helpers reaches out and gently pets the shell. As the sun sets, Gio notes that Sina is late returning home. He sits on the steps, cradling the pleasantly warm egg in his lap. Sina finishes her meal with a satisfied lick, declaring it delicious. Gio asks about her day, and she casually mentions fighting another monster. The casual mention of a monster battle catches him completely off guard. He asks what she is doing as they walk through the garden. Glancing at the hidden egg, he asks Sina if monsters are truly ferocious. She confirms they are, recalling a gruesome attack, which horrifies him. He is shaken by the story, though she adds his potions saved them. He resigns himself to the idea that humans and monsters cannot coexist. Sina, however, tells him to look at something else for a moment. She suggests there might be nice monsters, just like his friendly golems. She proposes bringing a monster home to be a part of their family. Gio sighs, insisting he isn't lonely and teasing her for being lazy. Internally, he admits to a deep sense of loneliness and solitude. Alone, Gio gently pats the egg, asking if it's doing well. The egg trembles in response to his touch, a sign of life within. It then emits a soft glow, and he exclaims that it answered him. A look of firm resolve settles on his face. He has decided. He declares his intention to hatch the egg and raise the monster inside. Having made his decision, Gio declares he will take full responsibility for the creature. He sits with the egg, wondering what kind of monster will be born and what its name should be. Gio dusts off his gloved hands, satisfied that his work for the day is now complete. Filled with excitement, he walks towards the garden, thinking the egg might hatch very soon. He reaches into a nest of leaves, his hand hovering over the large speckled egg. The moment his hand makes contact, he flinches back, feeling an unnatural and alarming coldness. Geo panics, holding the egg and exclaiming that it has gone cold after always being warm. His heart pounds with the terrifying realization that the baby inside the egg might die. Driven by a desperate urgency, he dashes away, determined to warm the egg immediately. With a rush of motion, he hurries into his room, his desperation clear in his haste. He gently places the egg amidst the soft, fluffy pillows and blankets on his bed. Kneeling beside the bed, he gently pats the egg, trying to impart warmth and life. A wave of immense relief washes over him as he feels its temperature return to normal. He reasons that he can sleep with the egg since his sister Sina is away for the night. In bed, Geo pulls the large egg close to his body, a gentle smile on his face. Looking down at the egg, he makes a heartfelt promise that it will be born safely. In response to his words, the egg seems to tremble gently against the warm covers. In the dead of night, a series of sharp sounds suddenly breaks the profound silence. A loud crack echoes through the room as a fissure appears on the egg's surface. Geo is jolted awake by the noise, sitting bolt upright in bed with a gasp of alarm. He stares in shock as more cracks begin to spread across the egg's speckled shell. His eyes are wide with the stunning realization that the egg is finally hatching. A wave of panic hits him as he wonders if he should intervene or try to help. Leaning in close, he offers words of encouragement to the unseen creature inside the shell. He continues to urge it on, telling it there's just a little bit more to go. With a final loud snap, the egg shatters completely, sending pieces of shell flying. The force of the hatching sends a surprised Geo rolling right off the side of the bed. A single large crack remains on a fragment of the now completely broken eggshell. Amidst the debris, a small, fluffy white creature wobbles and lets out a tiny mew. Geo scrambles back to the bedside, his face alight with pure joy that it has hatched. The newborn looks tired, and he wonders if it's a monster, as it resembles a cat. His joy turns to immediate concern as he questions what he should do for the weak creature. A sudden idea strikes him, a spark of inspiration lighting up his determined eyes. Remembering his garden grows milk, he thinks something nutritious might restore its strength. He quickly harvests several of the large, coconut-like fruits that provide the milk. Holding one of the fruits steady, he prepares to cut it open with a sharp knife. A stream of fresh, white liquid pours from the fruit into a shallow, waiting bowl. He takes a moment to appreciate the rich, pleasant smell of the fresh milk. Shaking his head, he reminds himself that now is not the time for idle appreciation. Back inside, he gently presents the bowl to the creature, asking if it can drink. The small, fluffy creature tentatively begins to lap at the milk in the bowl. Its eyes snap open with a happy jerk as it tastes the delicious and nutritious liquid. The newborn begins to drink with gusto, lapping up the milk enthusiastically. A wide, relieved smile spreads across Geo's face, thankful that it's finally eating. He feels a deep sense of gratitude for his garden, which has proven to be a lifesaver. Geo is glad the creature feels better and encourages it to grow big and strong. His gloved hand reaches out towards the small white creature's curious face. The creature affectionately nuzzles against his hand, letting out a contented meow. Geo is utterly captivated, thinking to himself how incredibly cute and soft the newborn is. All his worries dissipate. He decides there's no problem with him keeping it as a pet. He remembers the next important task he must complete. He needs to come up with a name. Cradling the white creature, he considers names like Snow or Ice based on its color. The creature, now re-energized, begins to trot playfully around the room. It returns to the bowl for another drink of milk, letting out a happy mew. Watching it drink, a spark of inspiration hits Geo as the perfect name comes to mind. Looking at the kitten in the milk, he joyfully declares that its name will be Milk. Later that evening, Sina announces his return home, and a voice warmly welcomes him back. A red-haired girl gasps in shock, her hand covering her mouth in complete surprise. Geo's sister asks what the creature is, and he happily announces that he has adopted it. She is instantly captivated by the kitten, asking if it's a cat he found somewhere. He cryptically replies that it is more or less a cat, keeping its origin a secret. Sina lunges forward to pet the creature, calling it a cutie with unrestrained delight. The startled kitten reacts defensively, chomping down hard on her gloved finger. Sina cries out that it bit her, while Geo calmly explains that she was too rude. Geo comforts the kitten, completely ignoring his sister's shocked and hurt expression. She erupts in a jealous wail, accusing him of caring more about the cat than her. Sina puffs out her chest, but Geo calmly deflates her by stating milk is male. Changing the subject, Geo announces that dinner's ready, serving a plate for milk. His sister, seeing the milk from the garden, eagerly asks if she can have some too. Sina gulps down a glass of milk while milk laps contentedly from its own bowl. She exclaims how sweet and flavorful the milk is, as milk lets out a happy mew. Geo marvels at the good things he can harvest, a deeper, more thoughtful idea forming. The three of them share a meal at the table, like a small and happy family. A view of their house is shown as Geo reflects on his newly expanded family. He feels a new sense of satisfaction in his work now that his family has grown. Geo visits the apothecary, bringing extra herbs for Marlene and her assistant. The two women are stunned by the sheer quantity and variety of the plants he brought. Marlene murmurs that all of the herbs he has presented are incredibly rare and valuable. Her gaze locks onto one specific plant, and she gasps, identifying it as chili grass. Her composure shatters into excitement as she realizes she can make an ice-cold potion. Marlene's assistant explains that the potion chills the body, granting heat resistance. Geo asks if it is useful for adventuring, and Marlene's expression turns intense. She confirms that it would allow adventurers to challenge the formidable volcanic area. The scene shifts to a sweltering cavern, the entrance to the notorious volcanic area. Sina's party stands at the entrance, with Sina complaining about the intense heat. Sina asks about the volcanic area, and another adventurer confirms their location. The blonde party leader, Sifa, explains the dungeon's 5 interconnected areas to her team. She notes that the underwater area is the most difficult and has never been beaten. Sifa states this volcanic area is the second most severe and has had very few conquerors. One of the adventurers asks what a conqueror is, looking up with curiosity. Her friend explains that defeating an area boss brings fame and valuable resources. Another party member wonders aloud if they are strong enough to defeat the boss. Sina points out the need for heat-resistant equipment to explore the dangerous area. A companion suggests going home for the day, wanting to avoid the difficult effort. Sifa gets their attention, revealing a small crystalline bottle that she is holding. Her friends marvel at the beautiful potion, which sparkles brilliantly like solid ice. Sifa explains she received the ice-cold potion as a free sample from the apothecary Marlene. She relays that drinking it will grant them resistance to fire and heat. The party is amazed, realizing this is their key to entering the volcanic area. One of them deduces Marlene must have used a precious ingredient called chili grass. In a fiery cavern, Sina and Annie share a look of dawning realization. Sifa confirms their suspicions, revealing Geo sold the rare ingredient to the apothecary. Deciding to test the potion, Sifa uncorks the crystalline bottle with a crisp sound. An intense cold shocks them all. Sifa shivers while Annie complains of brain freeze. The chilling effect causes Sifa's entire body to tremble, surprising her two companions. With the potion's power coursing through her, Sifa rallies the party to charge forward. They enter the volcanic area, a treacherous landscape where a deep roar echoes ominously. Sifa and Annie stare at the scorching hot land, observing the pools of lava. Sina stretches blissfully, exclaiming how cool and refreshed she feels despite the heat. The party walks confidently, remarking that the temperature feels perfect and praising the potion. Annie cautiously approaches a bubbling lava pool, noting that it seems safe to get close. Sifa, however, sharply warns her curious friend not to touch the molten rock. Suddenly, Sina's keen senses flare, and she alerts the others to approaching monsters. A pack of flame dogs emerges, and the adventurers identify the fiery, powerful creatures. A warning is issued to be careful, as these beasts are stronger than any they've faced. Unfazed, Sina accepts the challenge, swooping forward with her sword drawn to meet them. Her blade begins to crackle and glow with a frosty, magical aura. With a powerful battle cry, Sina leaps into the air, unleashing a devastating slash. The sword cuts cleanly through the air, carrying the potion's chilling power. After the flame dog is defeated in a single blow, Sina expresses surprise at its weakness. Sifa keenly observes that the monster's flames weakened upon contact with Sina's blade. Looking at her glowing sword, Sina wonders aloud if this is another effect of the potion. The party discusses the potion's long-lasting effects and their plan to explore the area. Sifa holds up a potion, her expression firm, confident they can succeed with it. United in their goal, the three adventurers declare their mission to conquer the volcanic area. Back home, Gio cheerfully announces his successful harvest of chili grass with milk on his shoulder. He daydreams that Sifa will thank him, hoping the herbs prove useful for her adventures. Looking at his status screen, Gio notices he has new skills he has yet to try. Deciding now is the time, he resolves to test out his new abilities in the garden. He selects the defensive wall skill, guessing it's a superior version of his fence generator. A holographic prompt appears, asking if he would like to generate the wall. He agrees. The ground rumbles violently and Gio cries out in shock as he's thrown off balance. He stares in horror as his home is now encircled by a massive fortress wall. Gio laments how weird and overblown the wall is, ordering it to go back. The wall retracts and he sighs in relief, wondering how he could ever use it. Undeterred, he peeks around a corner, ready to try out his next skill. He activates Conceal Garden, agreeing to the prompt that appears before him. A shimmer of light washes over his house and garden, but nothing seems to change. Standing in silence, he finds it strange that the changes aren't instantaneous. He moves on to check his crops, initially noting they are the same as always. Suddenly he gasps, his eyes widening as he notices a crucial difference on the list. He realizes all his crops, once mid-quality, are now labeled as high quality. Blushing and gulping, he imagines how much more delicious these new crops will be. An exhausted Sina trudges wearily down the street, letting out a groan of fatigue. She arrives at where her home should be, her head tilted in confusion. She complains about how tiring the volcanic area is, wanting only to go to bed. Her expression shifts to one of pure shock as she takes in the scene before her. The world seems to warp and stretch in her disoriented state. Gio calmly tends his garden, asking Sina what the commotion is about. He welcomes her back, holding milk, and asks why she's making such a fuss. Sina panics, demanding to know where their house is and what happened. Her eyes are wide with disbelief, a bead of sweat on her face. She gestures wildly at the completely empty lot where their home should be. Holding milk, Gio realizes his Conceal Garden skill must be working perfectly. He takes Sina's arm, telling her to look as he prepares to reveal the truth. With a soft pop, the house and garden reappear, and he explains he was testing skills. He sheepishly admits he can't use this one often, as it would startle the neighbors. A notification confirms that the concealment has been removed as the house fully materializes. Sina slumps in exhaustion, admitting the shock made her think she'd have to sleep outside. She playfully blames Gio for her fatigue, connecting it to the herbs he sold Marlene. Because of his help, she explains, she'll have to explore the volcanic area more intensely. Gio feels sympathetic, knowing all he can do is provide supplies while she works hard. He proposes a massive feast as a reward, and the idea instantly revives Sina. She agrees with explosive enthusiasm, wanting to have the feast right away and invite their friends. Gio smiles, telling her he has a high-quality ace up his sleeve for the occasion. Filled with new motivation, Sina declares she's pumped up and ready to go. In an apothecary, Marlene waves to Sifa, who has come to pick up potions. Back in the dungeon, the party prepares for their next push, motivated by the promised feast. Their arduous journey takes them through a treacherous path lined with sharp crystals. They battle a fierce, bird-like monster, fending off its powerful attacks. In a quiet moment, Gio is shown gently checking on a sleeping Sina. The party navigates a dark cavern, their adventure continuing through the difficult terrain. A deafening roar echoes through the caverns, signaling the arrival of a powerful foe. Hiding behind a rock, the party tenses as they find the source of the sound. They identify the massive shadowy figure as the legendary leader of the Red Lizardmen. The colossal beast takes a heavy, thunderous step, its sheer power radiating. Sina gasps at its huge size and impossibly hard-looking scales. Another party member confirms it has no record of defeat, making it their strongest enemy yet. Sifa's resolve doesn't waver. She declares that they will fight and can win. She explains their strategy will center on Sina, and together they will take it down. Sifa instructs everyone to top up their ice-cold potions to avoid running out mid-fight. Sina sighs with resignation but accepts her role, knowing there's no other choice. She takes a final gulp, her thoughts on the delicious feast awaiting her after their victory. As she drinks, her sword begins to glow with a frosty, magical power. The party members exchange a determined nod, ready for the battle to begin. Sifa activates her Empress's authority skill, buffing her allies and debuffing the enemy. The monstrous lizard man boss lets out a terrifying roar, shaking the adventurers. It unleashes a torrent of fire from its gaping maw in a powerful blast. Sina leaps into the air, executing a powerful slash that cuts through the flames. She lands safely, panting from the close call, as Sifa warns her to be careful. The boss, momentarily staggered, recovers with a low growl, preparing its next move. Sina catches her breath, her expression focused as she faces the formidable beast. Sifa realizes the boss, Volcano, is wary of Sina, sensing her true strength. From a hiding spot, Annie glances at the standoff, knowing she must act. Having completely concealed her presence, she prepares to create an opening for her team. She acknowledges her hunter's skills aren't for combat, but she has another role to play. With her dagger clenched tightly, she waits for the perfect moment to strike. Volcano lunges for Sina, and Annie knows this is her chance to attack. A silent, knowing glance passes between Annie and Sifa, their teamwork perfectly synchronized. Sifa's hand gleams with power as she unleashes her authority, commanding the beast to bow down. A red-haired adventurer named Annie swoops down, executing a daring surprise attack. Her dagger, glowing with a frosty aura, is poised for a decisive blow. From a distance, her companions watch as Sifa cries out Annie's name in concern. Landing gracefully, Annie expresses her delight that her attack successfully wounded the creature. Sifa praises the perfect synchronization of their surprise attack, a testament to their teamwork. Accepting the compliment, Annie is commended by Sifa for a job well done. Across the battlefield, the wounded Volcano struggles back to its feet, huffing with rage. The three warriors stand united, agreeing with Sifa's declaration to now go all out. Following their victory, the party arrives at the Grand Adventurers Guild building. Inside, the hall is bustling with activity as adventurers go about their business. A friendly receptionist named Canalia spots a familiar face and offers a warm welcome. Sifa, Annie, and Sina approach the counter, returning the receptionist's greeting. Canalia inquires about the new member she has noticed in Sifa's party. Sifa confirms, introducing the girl as her childhood friend, Sena. The receptionist internally assesses that Sifa's party may still struggle with dungeon exploration. Meanwhile, Sena is comically drooling, lost in thought about her next meal. Canalia offers a patronizing good luck to the seemingly weak novice adventurer. She then asks their business, to which Sifa states they are there to report in. With a heavy thud, Annie places a massive dark scale on the counter. Canalia stares in disbelief at the impossibly huge scale before her. Annie explains that the scale belongs to the infamous monster Volcano. Sifa directly reports their subjugation of the boss from the volcanic area. The receptionist is left momentarily speechless, her expression completely blank. Her face then contorts into a mask of pure, unadulterated shock. She screams in disbelief, earning a gentle rebuke for her volume from the girls. Examining the proof, she confirms it's from an impossibly large red lizard man. She wonders aloud if they received assistance from a more powerful party. The three girls stand together, proudly declaring their unaided victory. Sifa then requests a recovery team to retrieve the monster's body. This new information sends Canalia into a panic over the need for special equipment. Annie calmly reassures the flustered receptionist not to worry about that particular detail. She reveals their miraculous ice-cold potion, which makes the area safely explorable. Canalia sways, completely overwhelmed by the party's impossible, unprecedented achievements. Overwhelmed by the news, the guild receptionist shudders in disbelief and stress. She stumbles away from her desk, wailing for the guild leader to come at once. A member of the recovery team nervously takes a gulp from the special potion. He is amazed, exclaiming to his comrades that the volcanic heat is completely gone. The three young women thank the men for their help and offer to lead the way. The recovery team still expresses skepticism, doubting the potion alone was enough for victory. One man reflects on Sifa's reputation as a B-rank genius and a rising star. He questions whether the party of young girls truly managed to defeat the legendary Volcano. The men suddenly stop, their faces contorting in utter shock at what they see. Before them lies the massive, defeated corpse of the monstrous volcano. A member of the team confirms with certainty that the giant beast is indeed Volcano. One of the girls asks if he thinks the pristine condition of the materials is impressive. Another man calls out, having discovered something important about the creature's body. He is shocked to find Volcano's incredibly hard scales have been cut clean through. They speculate it was the B-ranked Sifa, but she shakes her head in denial. Their next guest is Annie, who also denies it, saying she's not a skilled swordswoman. Utterly stumped, the recovery team wonders who else it could have possibly been. They laugh off the idea of it being Sena, dismissing her as a mere novice. With a bright smile, Sena raises her hand and cheerfully announces that it was her. She strikes an exuberant pose, adding that Volcano was the strongest enemy she'd ever fought. The men are left completely speechless, their minds reeling from her impossible claim. Sena proudly shows Geo the massive pile of jangling magic stones she earned as a reward. She asks for praise and he obliges by affectionately patting her head. Their cat, Milk, lets out a soft meow, asking to be petted as well. As Geo happily ruffles Milk's fur, Sena pouts that the cat didn't earn it. She playfully argues that her presence should be just as refreshing for her brother. Suddenly, Geo is struck by the realization that Milk has grown significantly in just a few days. He notes with shock how large the creature is for a cat, as Sena looks on, confused. A nervous sweat breaks out as he suggests they use the stones to level up the garden. A notification appears, informing Geo that he has leveled up and learned a new skill. He is thrilled by the news, excitedly wondering what new crops he can now cultivate. He discovers a new and confusing skill on his list called Travel Between. Reading the list of new crops, he identifies copper ore and gold ore among them. A dazzling menu appears, revealing new cultivatable items, ores and gems of mid-quality. The words gold ore flash with dramatic emphasis, highlighting the most shocking addition. Geo stares in comical horror, overwhelmed by his home garden's new, unbelievable power. His panic intensifies as he processes the implications of growing such valuable materials. With a nervous smile, he decides to ignore this development, dismissing the menu. Sena notices his odd behavior, but he deflects, announcing a break from adventuring. He suggests inviting Sifa and Annie over, sparking Sena's immediate, excited realization. Geo grins, confirming her suspicion and calling the plan his secret weapon. Later, a sizzling platter is presented, announcing a feast to celebrate their victory. An incredible spread of food covers the entire table, a truly lavish banquet. Sena is ecstatic, exclaiming how good it all looks, while Sifa is amazed. Geo explains Alicia helped, but she winks, crediting his garden for the ingredients. Alicia promises endless food and Sena cheers, ready to eat her fill. Sifa offers her sincere gratitude for the incredible meal and warm invitation. The group raises their glasses, cheering for their conquest of the volcano area. Annie takes a hearty drink from her mug, a sizzling steak before her. Her attention is captured by the incredible-looking hamburger steak on her plate. Sena is practically drooling with anticipation, while Safa agrees it looks delicious. Geo proudly reveals he made that dish with his new high-quality crops. After one bite, the three women stare in shock, transported to a cosmic void. An unnerving silence falls as everyone at the table freezes, utensils midair. Annie's fork clatters from her hand, her face a mask of utter shock. Geo panics, asking if the food tastes bad, completely bewildered by their reaction. An image of a planet in space represents their out-of-this-world experience. Sifa's eyes are wide with intensity as she clarifies it is the exact opposite. Sena erupts, shouting that the food is good enough to make her pass out. She devours the meal with gusto, exclaiming she can't stop eating the delicious food. Sifa is equally captivated, wishing she could eat this flavor for eternity. The dinner descends into chaos as Annie and Sena fight over second helpings. Geo yells for them to pull themselves together, horrified by their intense glares. He realizes with terror that his high-quality crops are dangerously delicious. The meal is remade with less potent, mid-quality ingredients to restore order. Sena happily savors the new dish, praising the perfect combination of flavors. Annie eats with gusto, declaring the food hits the spot, while Sifa savors the meat's juiciness. The group comically discusses the dangerously delicious, high-quality crops, fearing they could start wars. A blonde girl named Sifa smiles gently, beginning to speak to her friend across the table. She expresses her sincere gratitude to Gio, feeling happy to have received such a nice reward. Gio, blushing slightly, humbly insists that providing the celebratory feast was no trouble at all. He explains it is the least he can do, since she has been taking good care of Sina. Sifa, while munching on a large chicken leg, corrects him, stating that Sina is impressively talented. Annie agrees, confirming they defeated the volcanic area so quickly because of Sina's powerful gift. A dish clinks quietly as Gio sets it down, finally understanding the true extent of his sister's power. Sina beams with pride, happily enjoying her meal and her friends' praise for her accomplishments. A new sense of purpose forms in Gio's mind. He realizes there are things he can do for them. The sound of a clattering dish interrupts his thoughts as he begins to clear away the empty plates. Just as he walks away from the table, Sifa stands and calls out his name, stopping him. With her eyes closed, she expresses her profound gratitude not just to Sina, but to him as well. She explains they couldn't have challenged the volcanic area without his special ice-cold potions. Looking him directly in the eyes, she tells him that he also possesses a great deal of power. Gio's eyes widen, sparkling with surprise and emotion at her heartfelt validation of his contributions. Annie chimes in, playfully adding that his logistical support and healing potions were also crucial. Sina agrees enthusiastically, noting how tough it is for adventurers to progress deep into dungeons. Sifa then gently pats Gio on the head, telling him to sit and let her handle the rest. Overwhelmed but happy, a blushing Gio can only stammer his agreement to her kind offer. He feels a sense of belonging, realizing he's part of their party even without adventuring. The exterior of a cozy-looking house is shown, signaling the end of the celebratory meal. Sina and Annie lean back in their chairs, stuffed and content after the incredible feast. The host, Alicia, is thanked for her wonderful cooking, though she remarks on how much everyone ate. The adventurers discuss their plans for a well-deserved break after their recent string of conquests. Hearing of their break, Gio glances over, silently wondering what Sifa's plans might be for her time off. The group begins to depart from the restaurant, with Sina waving a cheerful goodbye as she leaves. Sifa announces that she and Sina are heading off, bidding Gio a simple and friendly farewell. Just as he turns to leave, Sifa suddenly stops him with a firm, unexpected tug on his sleeve. Her expression is serious as she clenches his vest, wanting to thank him properly for everything. Gio's heart pounds in his chest, completely flustered by her sudden and intense gesture. As Sifa explains her gratitude, his mind races with the thrilling possibility that she might like him. Looking down shyly, she mentions that tomorrow she would like for them to go out together. The implication hits Gio with the force of a shockwave. He's absolutely sure she means a date. The next morning, the sun shines brightly over the town, setting the stage for their outing. Gio, sparkling with anticipation, carefully adjusts the bow tie of his smartly dressed outfit. His sister Senna yawns and notes his sharp attire, marking the start of his enigmatic date. He gently pats his cat, Milk, telling it to let Sina take care of it for the day. With a grand wave goodbye, he apologizes in advance in case he doesn't return until late. Humming cheerfully, he walks down the street, completely convinced he is going on a date with Sifa. His mind fills with romantic fantasies of visiting stylish, intimate spots with her by his side. He imagines them sharing a toast in a perfectly crafted romantic ambiance, just the two of them. His face glows with pure, unrestrained excitement. He simply cannot wait for the day to begin. He is jolted from his daydream when he spots Sifa waiting for him in the town square. Her long blonde hair sways gently in the breeze as she turns to greet his approach. Waiting patiently by a tree, Sifa offers him a simple and pleasant good morning greeting. Seeing her standing there, Gio's heart gives a powerful thump as a blush rises to his cheeks. He rushes over, apologizing for making her wait, but she reassures him she only just arrived. The simple, polite exchange feels so much like the start of a real date to him. He asks where she would like to go, but she reveals she has already given it some thought. Since it's her way of thanking him, she confidently tells him to leave everything to her. Gio swoons with happiness, ecstatic that Sifa has put together an entire date plan just for him. With their plan set, the two of them begin their much-anticipated outing together. He walks beside her, absolutely certain that today is going to be a great day for them. Their first destination is a large, imposing, and slightly gloomy-looking building with an iron gate. Gio's cheerful expression falters into one of utter confusion and profound disappointment. He recognizes the dark, overgrown building as Marlene's apothecary, much to his dismay. Sifa walks inside without hesitation, leaving a dejected Gio to follow with a sense of dread. A cheerful girl in a maid's uniform welcomes them, noting how rare it is to see them alone. Sifa calmly explains that they are just looking around the shop for the time being. The maid's eyes light up with a sudden realization as she begins to ask if they are on a date. They stand awkwardly in the dusty apothecary, a far cry from any kind of romantic setting. The maid correctly interprets Gio's pained expression as a sign this is not a date spot. Gio's internal monologue confirms his disappointment. This is definitely not a place for a date. He watches Sifa silently browse the shelves, wondering what on earth they are doing together. Sifa continues to examine the wares, her profile serene and focused on the task at hand. Suddenly, she turns and blinks, catching him completely off guard by asking if he's having fun. Startled by her direct question, Gio stammers out a quick, flustered affirmative. Seemingly satisfied with his answer, she turns back to the shelves, unaware he was just staring. The two stand awkwardly amongst the potions and jars, the purpose of their visit a total mystery. As they leave, the cheerful maid waves them off from the doorway, telling them to come again. Sifa immediately announces their next stop, a weapon shop, dashing Gio's romantic hopes once more. He watches in frustration as Sifa once again silently stares at the displayed merchandise. The strange pattern repeats. She asks if he is having fun, and he weakly agrees that he is. He stands there completely bewildered and questioning the nature of their very strange outing. Gio muses that dates usually involve fashionable clothing shops, not displays of adventuring gear. A friendly older shopkeeper welcomes them into his establishment with a warm, inviting smile. He mentions that he just got some new equipment in and invites Sifa to try it on. Gio and Sifa look on as the shopkeeper makes his offer to model the new gear. Sifa tries on 2 sets of armor, one heavy and strong, the other shockingly lightweight and revealing. Now in the skimpy gear, she turns and asks Gio which one he thinks looks best on her. Blushing furiously, Gio averts his eyes and stammers that she looks best in her usual clothing. A flicker of disappointment crosses Sifa's face at his non-committal, flustered response. They leave the shop without making a purchase, Sifa simply stating she didn't want anything. Their final destination is revealed to be the Adventurers Guild, crushing Gio's spirit completely. Inside the bustling hall, Sifa points out the lobby and the inn located on the 2nd floor. She then mentions the basement training area and invites him to go down and see it. Gio follows her down the stairs, descending into the guild's lower levels with trepidation. A clamor rises as the other adventurers recognize the famous B-rank adventurer, Sifa, in their midst. Gio is surprised to learn that Sifa is a well-known and respected figure in this world. He feels a momentary thrill at the thought of being on a date with someone so famous. Sifa sharply jerks his head forward, yelling at him to concentrate like a stern drill sergeant. A nearby instructor echoes her sentiment, warning a recruit about the dangers of losing focus. Gio stands beside Sifa, the atmosphere now tense and far from romantic or relaxing. In the training hall, a person practices their archery, their arrow flying true towards a target. Sifa throws a spear with incredible force, embedding it in a target near an exhausted warrior. She stares down the range with an expression of intense, unwavering focus and skill. Gio looks around the hall at the sparring adventurers, wondering what this is supposed to be. A wave of gloom washes over him as he realizes with certainty this is not a date. His romantic fantasies shatter as he understands he was the only one who thought it was a date. Gio's mind spins with confusion over Sifa's mysterious suggestion to go out. A close-up reveals Sifa's calm, unreadable expression as she stands beside him. She turns and asks if he is having fun, to which he stammers an affirmative. From across the hall, Gio notices a group of boys whispering amongst themselves. They encourage their nervous, fidgeting friend to be brave and take his chance. The boy hesitantly approaches, and Gio immediately assumes he's about to confess to Sifa. Instead, the boy bows deeply, asking Sifa to be his training partner. Sifa calmly agrees to the match, and Gio eagerly asks if he can watch. A rack of practice shields stands ready in the large, stone-walled training hall. Nearby, numerous training swords are neatly arranged in their stands. The young challenger selects a sword, preparing to face the skilled adventurer. Gio swallows nervously, realizing this is the first time he's ever seen Sifa fight. With a determined cry, the boy dashes forward to begin the mock battle. Sifa effortlessly parries his flurry of strikes with her long spear. Her feet move with practiced grace and speed across the stone floor. She smoothly dodges a wide swing, her expression remaining calm and focused. With a sharp whack, she expertly knocks the sword from her opponent's grasp. Her form is flawless as she brings her spear around after the disarming blow. The boy's eyes are wide with shock at her incredible and overwhelming skill. She brings her weapon to a decisive halt, ending the swift exchange. Defeated, the boy sits on the floor and formally yields to her superior strength. Gio and the other spectators let out a collective, impressed gasp of, "Whoa!" He marvels at her smooth movements, thinking to himself that she is super cool. Clapping enthusiastically, Gio feels genuinely glad he got to see her in adventurer mode. Another young woman approaches, asking Sifa if she would mind training with her next. The girl looks disappointed as Sifa politely declines, explaining this is all for now. Sifa announces to the onlookers that she has important plans for the day. Leaving the hall, Gio asks Sifa if she is finished for the time being. When she asks if he's hungry, his hopes for a stylish cafe begin to rise. His hopes are immediately dashed as they arrive at the same restaurant from yesterday. A waitress flaps her menu, offering them a simple welcome as they step inside. Annie is surprised to see them, asking why Gio and Sifa are there together. Gio recalls that Annie had mentioned she would be helping at her family's restaurant. Annie quickly tugs on Gio's arm, pulling him aside for a private word. In a hushed tone, she asks him if he is alone with Sifa. Her expression sharpens as she demands to know if they are on a date. Gio flusteredly denies it, insisting there's no particular reason for their outing. He explains that Sifa chose all the destinations, but it just doesn't feel like a date. Despite his confusion, he admits to Annie that he has been having a lot of fun. He confesses his bewilderment, stating he just doesn't get the feeling it's a date. Annie turns to look over at Sifa, who is waiting patiently at a table. Sifa sits calmly, unbothered by the restaurant's cheerful chatter. A gentle, serene smile graces her face as she waits for Gio to return. Annie's eyes narrow thoughtfully as she assesses the peculiar situation. She bluntly informs Gio that he is about 100 years too early for a date with Sifa. Her harsh words leave Gio feeling completely and utterly crushed. He sinks into a pit of despair, realizing Sifa is way out of his league. Returning to the table, he mumbles that he and Annie talked about nothing much. Slumped over the menu, he laments that she would have chosen more special places. Sifa looks at him with a neutral, perhaps concerned expression across the table. She asks if he is feeling deflated or tired, and he admits that he is. Her gaze is direct and full of a simple, earnest quality as she looks at him. She advises him not to worry, as some good food will surely make him feel better. Her surprisingly simple kindness makes Gio let out a small, warm chuckle. His spirits lifted, he agrees enthusiastically that they should order a lot of food. He decides that it doesn't really matter whether or not it's a date. What's truly important is that he still gets to spend time with her. Later, Annie and her sister wave them off from the restaurant's doorway. They walk together through a pleasant sunlit town square, enjoying the peaceful atmosphere. Gio feels much better after the tasty meal, patting his full stomach contentedly. Sifa declares that Lucas's is the best restaurant she knows, maybe even the best in the world. Gio is stunned into silence by her heartfelt declaration, a blush rising to his cheeks. He realizes with a jolt that for her, this was a special and important place. Sifa turns to him, her expression turning slightly worried by his silence. They both start to apologize at the same time, a bit flustered and awkward. Sifa's expression becomes tinged with a hint of sadness and concern. She asks quietly if he was unhappy earlier because of her. Standing in the square, she apologizes for not doing a very good job planning their day. She explains she wanted to thank him by taking him to all of her favorite places. Gio finally understands her simple, heartfelt intentions behind their strange itinerary. He realizes that all the places they visited were special and important to Sifa. She admits she even considered taking him into a dungeon, but thought it too dangerous. Gio lets out a small laugh, amused by her straightforward thought process. He chuckles, finding her reasoning endearing and genuinely funny. Sifa looks at him hopefully and asks directly if he had a good time. He enthusiastically confirms that he did, assuring her it's the honest truth. He declares that he would have a blast with her no matter where they went. Sifa is visibly taken aback by his heartfelt, confession-like statement. Gio immediately panics, realizing how much his words sounded like a confession. Sifa's face breaks into a radiant, genuinely happy smile, completely touched. Gio smiles fondly, thinking to himself that she is a mix of both cool and awkward. He concludes that it was a great day where he saw new sides of her. Sifa announces that there is one last place she wants to take him. With a dramatic boom, she reveals their final destination, her house. Gio's heart pounds as he panics, wondering if she wants to introduce him to her parents. She bluntly clarifies that it is simply another one of her favorite places. As they approach, a panicked voice shouts, "Bad news, boss!" from inside the building. They both realize the cry for help came from the workshop ahead. Gio recalls that Sifa's family runs a well-known blacksmithing shop. Sifa rushes forward, asking her father what is going on with the commotion. Her burly, hairy-chested father, a blacksmith named Billy, welcomes her home. Billy asks who Gio is, and the young man introduces himself. Billy recognizes him and gives him a friendly, vigorous pat on the head. His eyes narrow as he realizes his daughter has arrived with a boy. He erupts in overprotective rage, demanding to know if they are on a date. Sifa tries to redirect her father's attention to the more pressing problem. Other smiths confirm that they are in a real bind and are completely screwed. A heavy footstep crunches on the ground near the workshop's entrance. A menacing silhouetted figure appears, commenting on how loud they are. The intruder steps into the light, demanding to know where his money is. In a smithy, a bald man with a fur-collared vest named Hasia questions why he has come. Hasia announces he is checking on a loan that is 3 months overdue, shocking Gio. The blacksmith insists he will pay, having taken on a huge job for that very purpose. A close-up reveals the intense, stressed determination in the blacksmith's eye. A large rack filled with newly forged swords stands as proof of their hard work. A smith whispers to Gio and Sifa that the merchant who ordered the swords has vanished. Hasia taunts the blacksmith, feigning concern over their ability to pay him back. With a malicious smirk, Hasia implies he knows the client has already fled. As the blacksmith stands his ground, Hasia mockingly claims to be a legitimate moneylender. Gio feels that Hasia's actions are shady and questions his true motives. Gritting his teeth in desperation, the blacksmith begs for just a little more time. Hasia coldly refuses, stating he is done waiting and will close the workshop down. The blacksmith passionately defends his family's legacy, but Hasia proposes an exchange. He makes a vile offer. In place of the debt, the blacksmith can give him his daughter. Sifa looks on in stunned silence, questioning if she is the price of the debt. Her father is rendered speechless, his face a mask of shock and disbelief. Gio swoops in front of Sifa, yelling at Hasia for his preposterous suggestion. Hasia turns with a menacing glare, asking what Gio just said to him. Gio jerks back, his body frozen in sudden, stark terror. He panics, realizing he spoke without thinking, as Hasia menacingly advances on him. The blacksmith's hand shoots out, commanding Hasia to wait. He reminds the moneylender that the due date has not passed and tells him to go home. Hasia lets out a sinister laugh, conceding the point with amusement. As he leaves, he gives them a 3-day ultimatum to scrounge up the money. The group watches him depart, the immense weight of the deadline settling upon them. A smith rushes in, reporting the Merchants Guild has no record of their client. The blacksmith slams his fist down, realizing Hasia orchestrated the fake order. He apologizes to Gio for getting him involved, and Gio asks about the situation. The blacksmith begins to explain, his expression weary and strained. He recounts how recent troubles with new customers put the workshop deep in debt. At his wit's end, he found himself alone and desperate in a tavern one night. A man calling himself a moneylender, Hasia, approached him with a proposition. The blacksmith explains this is how Hasia first got his attention. He laments that Hasia, who seemed helpful, forced him to extend the loan. The other smiths are shocked, accusing their boss of being far too trusting. Billy sighs, admitting they have no proof that Hasia was behind their misfortune. Gio stands apart from the group, sensing something is deeply wrong with the situation. He wonders if Hosea has some ulterior motive for wanting the old workshop. Gio deduces that Hosea is deliberately preventing them from repaying the debt. A sinister image of Hosea suggests another, more disturbing possibility. Gio recalls Hosea's offer for Sifa, realizing the 3-day deadline is impossible. He turns toward the dejected blacksmith, resolved to do something. Gio hesitantly gets the blacksmith's attention. He asks how much is owed, offering to help if the amount is not too much. Gio optimistically offers to contribute a few dozen gold coins from his crop sales. The blacksmith holds up 5 fingers, preparing to reveal the devastating sum. He reveals the staggering debt is 500 gold coins. The entire group is struck with speechless shock by the impossible amount. The word despair hangs over them, the debt seemingly insurmountable. A heavy, defeated silence falls over the entire workshop. Sifa and Gio are later seen walking away on a cracked stone path. She apologizes for asking for his help, but he vows to do anything in his power. Sifa offers a small, grateful smile and thanks him for his unwavering support. Walking alone through the town, Gio worries that Hosea's true target might be Sifa. He feels desperate, knowing that simply selling his crops won't be enough to help. A sudden idea sparks in his mind. He considers using that special ability. He wishes he could consult with the merchant Liruka, but doesn't know where she is. Realizing he cannot afford to wait, he decides he must find her immediately. He resolves to ask around for her at the Merchants Guild building. He steps into the bustling, chatter-filled hall of the guild. A clerk informs him that Lyrica is an elusive merchant with no known whereabouts. Gio is crestfallen, explaining that his business with her is extremely urgent. The clerk apologizes again, confirming she has no idea where to find her. Gio turns away from the counter, his plan seemingly foiled. A cheerful voice calls his name. Liruka has miraculously appeared, bouncing toward him. Gio's face lights up with pure, unadulterated relief and joy. He tells her he was just looking for her, flustered by the incredible coincidence. They find a quiet bench outside to discuss the urgent matter. Liruka listens intently, understanding that the situation sounds quite serious. Gio rummages in his bag, telling her there is something he needs her to examine. He pulls out a large, gleaming chunk of raw, unprocessed ore. Liruka's eyes widen in absolute shock as she identifies it as gold ore. Gio calmly reveals that he grew it in his garden, stunning her completely. He asks if selling a large quantity of it would be enough to pay off the debt. Liruka looks thoughtful, a small exclamation of understanding on her lips. She tells him that his plan would be very difficult to execute, confusing him. She explains that all gold mines are strictly controlled by the country and its lords. Gio is shocked, his brilliant solution instantly rendered useless. He slumps in defeat, asking what other options he could possibly have. Liruka puts a finger to her chin, pondering an alternative solution. She asks if he can grow other types of ores. He confirms he can grow many. Her eyes sparkle with a new idea as she asks if he has any mithril. She explains that mithril develops in places with dense mana, like dungeons. The scene shifts to the exterior of Gio's home and garden. Liruka warns that selling raw mithril would still be suspicious due to its rarity. With a triumphant finger, she announces that she has a good idea. Gio expresses his deep concern about the fast-approaching 3-day deadline. Liruka reassures him with a confident smile, telling him to leave it all to her. Gio looks at her, considering her confident and capable demeanor. He smiles and agrees, placing his complete trust in her expertise. He declares to the workshop that he is counting on her to succeed. Back at the smithy, the atmosphere is one of utter defeat and resignation. Billy reveals a meager pile of coins, admitting it falls far short of the full debt. He resigns himself to losing the workshop, much to Sifa's dismay. Gio and Liruka arrive, and she introduces herself as a merchant with an order. Billy tries to turn her away, explaining that they are closing down today. Liruka urges him to listen first, rummaging through her bag for her proposal. She presents a massive pile of mithril ore, stunning the assembled smiths. She offers them the mithril in exchange for an order of 200 weapon sets. Billy stares at the contract in shock at the incredible price she is offering. Sifa realizes the incredible order for 200 weapon sets will save their workshop. Her father, however, grows intensely nervous, fearing the deal is a deceptive trap. Liruka acknowledges his wariness, admitting they have only just met. She then reveals the transaction was entrusted to her by Geo, asking if he trusts him. Sifa looks toward her father, who holds the contract with a deeply worried expression. With unwavering certainty, she tells her father it's okay because she trusts Geo. Geo is visibly moved by Sifa's simple and powerful declaration of faith. The blacksmith remembers how Geo was the one who bravely stood up for Sifa. With a confident smile, Laruka extends her hand to seal the deal. His resolve hardened, the blacksmith firmly shakes her hand, accepting the offer. Lyrica cheerfully announces that she will now present the payment for the order. A heavy pouch jangles, revealing a trove of gleaming and valuable platinum coins. Both Gaio and Sifa are shocked, knowing such currency is used only by nobles. Geo realizes Laruka never told him the identity of her mysterious, high-status client. Overwhelmed with relief, the blacksmith clenches his gloved fist in triumph. He dashes out of the workshop, determined to confront Hasea immediately. A sinister voice suddenly stops him, asking where he's going in such a rush. Hasea, the moneylender, steps forward, blocking the blacksmith's path. His gang of thugs swarms into the yard, their boots crunching on the ground. Hasea taunts them, sarcastically asking if they were planning to skip town. The blacksmith, Sifa, and Yeo are shocked by their sudden, unwelcome appearance. Hasea reminds them that today is the promised day for repayment. The blacksmith quietly warns Sifa to stay back, fearing the men are after her. Geo thinks to himself that this is for the best. He firmly tells Sifa to remain inside the safety of the workshop. A tense standoff forms in the yard, with Sifa watching anxiously from the doorway. The blacksmith presents a pouch, stating his debt was 500 gold coins. Hasea and his men are utterly floored, recognizing the valuable platinum coins. A small hand waves cheerfully in a friendly greeting. Laruka playfully peeks out, explaining she was just the intermediary for a deal. Hasea fumes, unable to believe someone could raise such a sum so quickly. Laruka begins to mention the identity of the client. A cruel smirk spreads across Hasea's face as he announces he forgot the interest. He taunts the blacksmith about all the payment deferrals he supposedly granted. With a dramatic boom, he declares the new total is 1,500 gold coins. Laruka and Geo cry out in shock at the impossibly tripled amount. The blacksmith furiously protests, but Hasea dismissively insists it's the real amount. One of Hasea's thugs sneers that the workshop won't be enough to cover it. Hasea reveals his true motive, demanding the blacksmith's daughter as additional payment. Geo's eyes widen with shock and dawning realization at the vile proposition. The blacksmith's face contorts in pure rage, vowing Hasea will get Sifa over his dead body. Hasea's gang steps forward, their leader calmly warning them not to get violent. From the doorway, Sifa watches the confrontation, a bead of sweat on her face. The blacksmith sees, calling Hasea a bastard under his breath. Geo steps forward, placing himself between the groups and telling them to stop. A tense face-off begins between Geo and the much larger moneylender. With fierce determination, Geo shouts that he will absolutely not let this happen. Hasea is taken aback for a moment, surprised by the boy's sudden defiance. One of his thugs lunges forward to shove Geo out of the way. The thug recognizes Geo as the brat from before. Hasea intervenes, grabbing Geo's collar and threatening to hurt him. Refusing to back down, Geo's hand clenches into a tight fist. From the doorway, a worried Sifa calls out Geo's name. Geo shouts that this has everything to do with him because Sifa is his precious friend, a declaration that surprises and moves Sifa. Hasea tightens his grip, preparing to strike the defiant young man. A cheerful voice suddenly cuts through the mounting tension. Lyrica interrupts the confrontation, asking for a moment of their time. She offers a disarming, serene smile to the group of thugs. Rummaging through her bag, she says there's something she failed to mention before. She unfurls a document, revealing the client is the lord of this land. The revelation sends a shockwave through Hasea's gang and the blacksmith. Hasea's face is a mask of disbelief as he processes the powerful name. Geo is equally stunned, a view of the lord's castle underscoring the authority involved. In a lavish office, a silhouetted figure sighs, lamenting they can't refuse Laruka. The image confirms the lord's direct involvement in the transaction. The blacksmith gives Geo a friendly pat, bringing him back to the present. He squints at the document Laruka is holding, examining it closely. He confirms with certainty that the crest on the document is indeed the lord's. Lyruka calmly explains that word of any unfair payment would reach the Lord. She asked with a sweet smile if that wouldn't be inconvenient for him. Hosea grits his teeth in silent fury as his men begin to chatter nervously. The blacksmith states that he will accept the original 500 coins. He forcefully snatches the pouch of money from Hosea's hand. Defeated, Hosea clicks his tongue in frustration and orders his crew to leave. Geo and the blacksmith watch as the thugs retreat down the road. Geo begins to pant, the adrenaline from the confrontation finally leaving him. He collapses to his hands and knees, admitting how terrifying the ordeal was. The blacksmith helps him up, admitting the boy's courage surprised him. Geo turns to Sifa, who has stepped out, and apologizes for his lame display. He smiles, expressing his relief that everything turned out all right in the end. Sifa suddenly throws her arms around him in a tight, heartfelt hug. Geo's eye bulges in comical, absolute shock at the unexpected gesture. The blacksmith and Lyrica watch the scene unfold with surprised amusement. Sifa thanks him, explaining that her father's workshop is now safe. Geo trembles, utterly flustered as he stammers that Sifa just hugged him. The blacksmith praises Lyruka for securing an order from the Lord. Lyruka humbly waves off the compliment, saying it was nothing. Geo stands beside Sifa, feeling happy to have been able to help. Lyruka explains she was glad to help because Geo was trying so hard. The blacksmith claps Geo on the back, praising his chivalry. Geo gasps, a blush of horror spreading across his face. He realizes with mortification that he must have said something outrageous to Sifa. He flails his arms, frantically trying to apologize to her. Sifa calmly tells him she couldn't hear him well since she was far away. Lyrica tries to repeat his words, but Geo frantically cuts her off. The blacksmith sincerely thanks Geo again for saving them all. Geo, smiling, insists that it's not necessary at all. He blushes, admitting that the hug she gave him was more than enough. A gentle, relieved smile spreads across Geo's face as he feels at peace. A cheerful merchant girl gives Geo an okay sign, holding up some important documents. Geo, the merchant, and Sifa walk away from the workshop, their business concluded. Elsewhere, a fist slams down in rage as a man curses the tiny merchant. The bald moneylender fumes, his carefully laid plans now completely ruined. He knows this massive failure cannot be reported to his boss. A blonde subordinate reports that he found a place the merchant regularly visits. He explains it is a house inhabited by a newly adult brother and sister. The subordinate confirms the brother is the same young man seen with the merchant. An evil idea sparks in the leader's mind as he expresses his own disdain for Geo. A sinister plan forms. They will capture Geo and use him as bait. Inside an apothecary, Dennis joyfully announces his successful creation of a new sky blue potion. He asks Marlene about its effects, and she suggests he should try it himself. Eagerly accepting his role as an assistant, Dennis agrees to test the potion. He drinks the potion, remarking on its surprising and pleasant bubbliness. Marlene then instructs him to put his face into a nearby bowl of water. Confused but compliant, Dennis agrees to the strange request. He plunges his face into the water with a loud, sudden splash. Submerged, his eyes fly open in shock as he realizes he can breathe. He excitedly tells Marlene he can breathe underwater, who explains it as an aquatic potion. Dennis recalls that Geo was the one who brought them the rare air flowers. Marlene confirms the flowers are a rare ingredient, blooming only at high altitudes. Pondering this, Dennis wonders how Geo manages to acquire such incredible items. He notices Marlene trying to sneak away with the potion and water. Dennis calls out her name, his voice sharp, stopping her in her tracks. He asks what she plans to do with the water in the bottle. Marlene wails dramatically, declaring her bizarre intention to keep them as personal treasures. Their argument is interrupted by the arrival of the adventurer Sifa at the shop door. Both Marlene and Dennis gasp, surprised by the sudden visitor. In a flash of panic, Marlene swoops away with the evidence. She hurls the bowl of water out a back door with a splash and a cry of despair. Dennis greets Sifa with a relieved smile, while Marlene sobs quietly in the background. Sifa asks if something happened, but Dennis quickly denies it. To distract her, Dennis presents the new potion Marlene just finished making. Smoke curls peacefully from the chimney of a quiet house. A large white wolf-like creature sniffs the air outside. The creature, Milk, trots inside the house for its meal. Milk meows, nudging its master's leg as dinner is served. A plate of browned fried mackerel pike is presented as Milk's favorite food. Sina observes with a pout, remarking on how much Milk has grown. She complains that he's too big to carry now that he eats so much. Geo internally thinks that's because Milk is a monster hatched from an egg. He believes Milk isn't dangerous due to its strong attachment to him. Geo affectionately ruffles Milk's fur, noting how spoiled the growing creature is. Sina watches with envy, exclaiming her desire to pet him too. When she approaches, Milk turns on her with a ferocious snarl. Sina complains it's not fair, but Geo states Milk simply doesn't like her. Sina reminds him he has an adventure today and asks where he's going. Geo hesitates, looking down at his own plate of fish. Water drips ominously from the maw of a dark, foreboding cave. An adventurer party stands at the entrance to the vast underwater area. Sifa holds up the aquatic potion, their key to exploring this new dungeon. She explains the disadvantage of fighting underwater while holding one's breath. The dark, swirling depths of the unconquered area await them. Recalling a previous success, Sina confidently drinks the new potion. The three adventurers wade into the dark, still water. They descend, moving with ease as if walking on land. Annie is amazed, exclaiming that she can really breathe underwater. She marvels at how easily she can walk and that her clothes aren't even wet. The adventurers realize they can even hear each other's voices clearly. Annie's hunter's nose still works, and she warns of an approaching monster. A massive, shark-like creature lunges at them with terrifying speed. The party observes the creature's immense size as it closes in. Sina reacts instantly, drawing her gleaming sword with a sharp sound. She leaps forward and cleaves the monster in two with a single slash. Her companions praise her undiminished skill and Marlene's reliable potions. They correctly deduce that Geo supplied the raw materials for the potion. With no information on the area, Sifa declares their mission is to map it out. A small, whimsical drawing shows Annie's cartography, including a doodle of a monster. The party rests on some rocks before continuing their exploration. They continue their trek along the winding underwater path. Sina gasps as they enter a magnificent glowing grotto. Annie remarks that it would be a profitable tourist spot if not for the danger. Sifa reminds them to be careful, as monsters surely lurk nearby. The three of them walk through the breathtaking coral forest. Sina wonders aloud if the fish would be tasty, earning a rebuke from Annie. Far away, Geo sneezes, as if reacting to her thought. Annie optimistically suggests conquering the area might be easy with the potions. A school of graceful manta ray-like creatures glides past them. A colossal shadow suddenly falls over them, plunging the grotto into darkness. The party looks up in shock at what Sifa believes is the area's boss. That night, a group of shadowy figures gathers outside Geo's house. Inside, Geo is fast asleep, snoring softly. The intruders note his sister is away, presenting the perfect opportunity. Their leader orders them to hurry up and grab the single ordinary person. The sound of a door being forced open shatters the silence. Milk's ear twitches, its eyes snapping open in alarm. The noise rouses Geo, who blinks awake, startled. Milk tugs urgently at Geo's leg, trying to pull him from the bed. Now awake, Geo groggily asks his pet what's wrong as it growls. Milk stands alert, its attention fixed on the creaking bedroom door. Geo's heart pounds as he realizes it can't be his sister returning. Two menacing silhouettes loom in the doorway, and Geo whispers in terror. With a ferocious snarl, Milk dashes forward to attack the intruders. One intruder cries out in pain, shocked that a mere cat is attacking him. He struggles, demanding the creature let go of his arm. Geo screams for Milk to be careful as the second intruder moves in. Milk's eyes are narrowed with fierce determination as it fights. The second intruder throws a punch, but Milk dodges with incredible speed. The first intruder is left with deep, bleeding scratches across his face. Realizing their mistake, the two men decide to retreat for now. A loud thumping noise startles Geo awake in his dark bedroom. Beside him, his large white companion, Milk, hisses defensively at the unseen threat. Geo anxiously asks if Milk is all right and unharmed by the commotion. Milk responds with a series of urgent mews, insisting the danger is not over. He understands the creature is urging him to escape to the garden for safety. With a determined nod, Geo agrees, and they flee into the moonlit yard. An armed intruder stomps into the yard, ordering his men to find their target. Hiding amongst the plants, Geo shudders, realizing the armed men mean him harm. Milk mews softly, staying close as Geo whispers reassurances to his companion. He tells Milk not to worry, declaring that he has some strong friends. One of the men rustles through the bushes, getting closer to their hiding spot. A pumpkin-headed golem erupts from the ground with a powerful whoosh. It crashes into the intruders, who cry out in shocked confusion. A second golem wielding a club joins the fray, attacking the stunned men. More and more golems begin to bulge from the earth, surrounding the intruders. The men's faces are masks of pure terror as the golem army grows. Their leader furiously demands to know why they can't capture one boy. Hidden Geo watches the men struggle against his golems, surprised by the chaos. He wonders if someone new has arrived to join the ongoing fight. A new figure rushes past with incredible blurring speed toward the battle. A bald man executes a devastating slash, cutting through a golem effortlessly. He looks back at his men, mocking their struggle against the small fries. The younger intruders look on with a mixture of fear and awe. Another golem bulges from the ground, ready to join the fight. Geo recognizes the man with horror, realizing he has come for revenge. A subordinate tells his leader that the golems are appearing endlessly. Another golem emerges from the earth, much to the leader's clear annoyance. The leader cuts down the new golem with another powerful, angry slash. He screams in frustration for the constructs to get out of his way. His sharp gaze cuts through the chaos, spotting Geo and Milk hiding. The man glares, declaring Geo's small fries are useless against him. The battlefield is a chaotic scene of men fighting an endless golem tide. He prepares to charge, furious that Geo is wasting his precious time. A massive shadow suddenly falls over him, stopping him in his tracks. He looks up in utter shock and disbelief at the new arrival. The dark silhouette of a colossal golem looms over him menacingly. A small detail shows the massive golem's heavily armored stone form. Recovering his nerve, the leader lunges forward to attack the giant. His blade connects with the golem's leg with a sharp metallic crack. The force of the impact sends him staggering backward in pain. He lands hard on the ground, his body thudding against the earth. He begins to laugh hysterically, convinced this must be a joke. From below, two massive golem legs tower over the fallen warrior. The scene briefly shows Geo's house, a point of origin. A flashback shows the leader mocking his men's incompetence. He expresses his disbelief that they are struggling so much. Geo trembles, realizing how strong the man is and how weak his golems are. Milk growls and Geo agrees they need to retreat further away. He dashes away, frantically wondering what to do against such power. The leader stands amidst the shattered remains of the normal golems. A translucent menu appears before Geo, offering to make a Mega Guardian. Geo realizes he has never tried this powerful, untested skill before. Knowing he has no other choice, he resolves to give it a shot. He anxiously wonders if he can create more than just one of them. He repeatedly confirms the system prompt, summoning more Guardians. With a final shout, he commands the creation of one more Mega Guardian. Two colossal, armored golems erupt from the ground with a mighty thud. The leader stares in slack-jawed disbelief at the impossible sight. His subordinates are equally stunned, their faces frozen in shock. Geo is amazed by his own power, having never made such huge golems. The giant silhouettes tower ominously over the nearby rooftops at night. The defeated leader sits on the ground, laughing in a state of shock. Geo issues a firm command to one of his guardians to drive him away. The Mega Golem's glowing eyes focus on its target with silent intent. It swoops down with incredible speed to carry out the order. The Golem's massive hand grabs the shocked leader with immense force. He struggles and flails uselessly, shouting for the Golem to release him. The Golem's grip tightens, cutting off his pleas for freedom. His protests turn into a raw, agonized scream as he is crushed. With a final brutal motion, the Golem hurls him through the air. He lands in a motionless slump on a distant rooftop, defeated. The remaining intruders blanch, their faces shadowed with pure terror. They cry out for their fallen leader as they begin to flee. The men dash away, shouting that the house is too crazy to fight. Geo asks his Golem if it's safe now, and the giant nods. Milk rubs against his leg, mewing affectionately in relief. A gentle, relieved smile spreads across Geo's face. He thanks his colossal guardians, admitting he was in big trouble. The scene shifts to a vast, dark underwater cavern teeming with fish. A party of adventurers discusses the colossal monster they recently saw. Sifa questions whether they possess the strength to defeat the beast. Sina cheerfully declares that she thinks the monster would be delicious. The party leader sighs, lamenting how smoothly things were going until now. She decides they will avoid the boss and continue mapping the area. While taking a potion, she reflects on the monster's strangely weak presence. The adventurers walk along the water's edge, continuing their exploration. The group treks through the vast, desolate underwater landscape. The leader suggests it is time to head back to the surface. A companion cautions everyone not to let their guard down on the way back. They agree they will need a solid strategy to beat the boss next time. The party turns to begin their journey back to the surface. A colossal, shadowy monster erupts from the water directly behind them. The leader panics, unable to understand how it appeared without warning. She screams for her companions to run away from the terrifying beast. The party dashes away in a desperate attempt to escape the monster. The monster's massive, shadowy eye twitches as it gives chase. It swoops after them, gaining speed as it closes the distance. The beast opens its impossibly vast maw, preparing to swallow them whole. The leader cries out in despair that they are about to be devoured. Sifa suddenly stops, her expression calm and focused on the beast. Sifa looks on with a serious expression, thinking this new foe is different from Volcano. She raises her hand, unleashing her powerful skill, Empress's authority. The colossal fish shudders as she considers her ability's effectiveness against giant opponents. Annie urgently points, telling her companions to look at the monster's reaction. A strange dissolving sound emanates from the creature's shadowy form. A close-up shows a character's eye widening in surprise at the bizarre event. The monster's body continues to break apart, confusing an onlooker. The red-haired adventurer exclaims in disbelief as the creature's body disintegrates. Sifa watches with a knowing expression, confirming she had suspected the truth. The illusion shatters, revealing the foe is not a single, massive fish. Its form dissolves into countless smaller shapes that swirl through the water. The truth is revealed. It is a massive, tightly packed school of small fish. Annie and Sina stare in wide-eyed shock at the true nature of their enemy. Annie understands now why her senses couldn't detect a single powerful presence. A hand grips a sword hilt, preparing for the real battle to commence. The three adventurers draw their weapons, one remarking it was all a deceptive show. Sifa cautions them not to get careless, suspecting a leaderfish directs the school. Annie plants her foot firmly on the ground, agreeing to the new plan. Sina declares her intent to finish them all off in a single decisive assault. Sifa announces she will provide support, commanding the fish to bow down. Her power washes over the school, weakening the small fries. The small fish are thrown into disarray by the magical attack. Their movements become sluggish and uncoordinated under the skill's influence. Sina charges into the school, cutting through them with a flurry of slashes. Annie observes that Empress's authority is working, making their enemies easy targets. The school of fish suddenly begins to weave together in a coordinated pattern. A single larger fish with a glaring eye is shown directing the others. Sifa's expression hardens as she witnesses the enemy's coordinated counterattack. The entire school swoops towards the party in a powerful, unified wave. Sina and Annie cry out in pain as they are battered by the onslaught. Sifa grits her teeth, unable to maintain her gift while being physically assaulted. The party is thrown into disarray as the wave of fish rushes past them. Sina shouts a warning as the school prepares for another attack. Sifa's attempt to use her skill again fails amidst the chaos. The adventurers brace themselves as the roaring wave of fish barrels toward them. The relentless physical assault continues, putting the party in real danger. Annie cries out in pain from the continuous impacts of the fish. Sina winces, her face contorted from the constant battering. Sifa's eye narrows with focus, spotting the true target amidst the chaos. She identifies the single leaderfish orchestrating the entire attack. Sina launches herself through the water, sword raised for a decisive strike. The leaderfish is cleaved in two, letting out a silent cry of death. The rest of the school immediately panics and flees in all directions. The water churns as the adventurers stand amidst the defeated and fleeing fish. Annie asks if they are finally safe, noting how the fish suddenly darted away. Sina explains that when she killed that one specific fish, the others scattered. Sifa looks on, understanding the implication of Sina's action. The bisected carcass of the leader fish twitches, confirming it controlled the rest. Sina cheerfully explains she just glimpsed it and instinctively cut it in two. Her companions praise her, calling her amazing and her skill outrageous. The group speculates if the deceptive creature was the area's boss. Though victorious, Annie complains that her whole body hurts from the fight. In a beautiful grotto, the party decides to report their conquest to the guild. They ascend through the water, leaving the conquered underwater area behind. At the guild hall, a cheerful receptionist, Canalia, greets Sifa with perfect timing. The three adventurers approach the counter, looking weary but successful. Canalia bubbles with excitement, while Annie guesses she has news about the volcanic area. Canalia reveals someone important heard of their achievements and wants to meet them. Sifa raises a hand to get Canalia's attention for her own report. She calmly informs the receptionist that they also conquered the underwater area. Canalia's cheerful expression freezes as she processes the incredible news. She screams in shock, the news echoing through the entire guild hall. Flustered, Canalia exclaims how ridiculously good they are for achieving so much. She tells them they will likely receive an even warmer reception now. After composing herself, she prepares to reveal the identity of their admirer. With a formal smile, she announces it is the Lord of Arsal. Annie reacts with explosive shock at the mention of the Lord. All three adventurers are stunned by the unbelievable summons. Canalia confirms they are invited to the Lord's sparkling castle. Annie remarks that for commoners, the Lord is an impossibly distant figure. Canalia explains their conquests have caused the region's economy to boom. She notes this is the first time the Lord has reached out to such young adventurers. A small detail is shown of the official-looking letter she holds. Sifa realizes the apothecary who made the ice-cold potion was also a factor. Canalia confirms the apothecary, Marlene, was also contacted worrying about her social anxiety. Sina begins to ask about her brother, who grew the ingredients. Annie quickly swoops in to silence her with a hand over her mouth. She urgently whispers that Gio's garden is a secret. Sifa confirms their appointment at the castle in 5 days. Sina and Annie celebrate the news that they will get a break. The adventurers bid farewell, promising to see Canalia in 5 days. Sina skips happily through town, planning to have Gio spoil her. The scene shifts to Gio and Sina's quiet 2-story home. Inside, a large white creature, Milk, paces anxiously around the dining table. Gio reflects that Milk has been on guard ever since that incident. A flashback shows shadowy figures dashing through their garden at night. Gio shudders, his anxiety growing as he fears the attackers might return. He paces nervously, worried that Sina is late and might be in danger. He asks Milk what they should do, his anxiety peaking. The front door creaks open, startling both Gio and Milk. Milk dashes towards the door, ready to defend, as Gio cries out its name. Gio's face is tense as he wonders if the attackers have returned. The intruder is revealed to be Sina, who is playfully chomped on by Milk. Gio's face floods with relief as he sees his sister is safe. He rushes to greet her, glad she's okay but noting her late arrival. He pulls Milk off her, reassuring the creature that Sina is not an enemy. Milk looks on in shock, seemingly confused by the command. Sina looks confused, wondering why he would need to clarify that. Gio confirms that something has indeed happened. Later over dinner, 2 bowls of steaming food sit on the table. Sina slams her hands on the table, shocked to hear her brother was attacked. Gio reassures her he wasn't hurt, crediting Milk and the golems for his safety. The news of his mysterious protectors leaves Sina completely stunned and silent. A flashback shows the shadowy golems standing guard over their defeated attackers. Gio sighs, admitting he can't sleep well, knowing the men might return. Her expression shifts to one of cold, serious resolve as she processes the threat. Understanding the gravity of the situation, she asks who the attackers were. He describes the leader as a skilled, tattooed swordsman who defeated the normal golems. The next morning, an anxious Gio urges Sina to be careful and barricade her door. With a confident smile, she chomps on her food, telling him not to worry. She reassures him that she can fight, waving off his concerns about her being a novice. Her extremely laid-back attitude makes Gio swallow nervously, finding her too casual. At night, Geo defensively clarifies to an unseen person that he was invited to the Lords. The rooftops of his town are shown under a clear, peaceful sky. His foot crunches on the path as he walks through his well-tended garden. Accompanied by Milk and a golem, he carries a basket of fresh produce. A pile of shimmering magic stones jangles as they are gathered together. Looking at his house, he decides to use the stones to strengthen the garden's defenses. Remembering Sena's confidence, he resolves to ensure she won't have to overdo it. He considers that his powerful mega golems are difficult to use during the day. Lost in thought, he wonders if there is another way to protect his home. The magic stones dissolve into light, their power spent, leaving him wanting another option. He imagines an invisible wall and learns he has acquired a new skill. Suddenly, he remembers a skill he learned some time ago, but has not yet tested. A system interface beeps as he accesses his list of unique abilities. The name of the skill, Travel Between Gardens, is revealed with a flourish. His eyes light up with excitement at the possibility of warping away from danger. Eagerly, he accepts the prompt to travel between his two gardens. His hopes are instantly crushed when the system declares he cannot travel at this time. Confused and disappointed, he wonders why the skill failed before moving on. He discovers another new skill he has learned, Traveling Garden. A prompt asks if he wants to switch to traveling mode, and he hesitantly agrees. The ground beneath his feet gives a sudden and unexpected lurch. A violent quake throws him, Milk, and the golem off balance in shock. Clutching Milk, he asks what just happened as the tremor subsides. He looks up at the familiar rooftops of his quiet neighborhood. A strange detail from the side catches his eye, making him pause. His face shows confusion as he tries to process what seems wrong. He realizes with a start that the neighboring house seems to have shrunk. With a cry of disbelief, he dashes to the edge of his property to investigate. He skids to a halt, staring at a massive chasm where his garden used to be. His eyes twitch in comical horror at the impossible sight before him. A system prompt asks if he would like to move the garden. His house and garden float through the air, terrifying a nearby neighbor. He marvels at the outrageousness of his ability as the house settles. He realizes this power is too conspicuous to be used for a stealthy escape. Frustrated by his troublesome skills, he decides to check his new crops instead. A spark of hope ignites as he wonders if he can grow something amazing. A vibrant menu of new cultivation options is revealed with a decorative flourish. He collapses in utter despair, realizing his new options are only flowers. Sighing, he laments that none of them will be of any use. His golem and Milk look on with concern as he voices his disappointment. Milk gently licks his face, trying to get his attention. The creature nudges him, mewing in an attempt to comfort him. His golem gently pats his back, and he realizes they are trying to cheer him up. A small, grateful smile appears on his face, touched by their simple kindness. He thanks his loyal companions for their unwavering support. His fighting spirit rekindled, he declares they will all work together if trouble comes. He stands tall with his companions, his resolve renewed and his posture confident. A nervous sweat appears as he admits to himself that he is still a little scared. He clenches his fist, reminding himself that Sena is here to protect. He declares that he cannot afford to be scared. He must protect his sister. He walks back towards his house, surrounded by the lush plants of his garden. His feet shuffle on the path as he approaches the building. He remembers that it's about time for Sena to wake up. Walking up the stairs to her room, he calls out her name. He finds her door unlocked, despite his earlier warnings to her. Pushing the door open, he steps into her tidy but empty room. A look of worry spreads across his face as he realizes she is gone. The scene shifts to a dark, squalid alleyway somewhere in the city. The bald attacker drags himself along, panting with effort and rage. He slams his fist against a wall in a fit of frustration. His face contorted in a snarl, he vows that Geo will pay for this. A flashback shows him being viciously berated by his superiors for his failure. He recalls being demoted, betrayed, and cast out, his life now in danger. His thoughts fixate on Geo's house, blaming the boy for his entire downfall. In the present, he lurks in the shadows, staking out the property. The front door opens and Sena steps out into the street. He considers waiting for the boy to emerge, but sees a new opportunity. He watches the young woman walk away, a sinister plan forming. He recalls hearing that the boy lived alone with his adventurer sister. A wicked predatory grin spreads across his face as he realizes his advantage. He notes that a girl who has just reached adulthood is the perfect target. He resolves to use her to lure Gio out into the open. He follows Sina from a distance as she walks through the town. Seeing her turn into a deserted alley, he knows his moment has come. His feet pound the pavement as he quickly closes the distance. He appears silently behind her, getting her attention with a single word. Leaning in close, he delivers a chilling threat, telling her to be quiet. Sina freezes, recognizing his description as the man who attacked her brother. Her face shadowed, she asks with menacing calm if he is her brother's attacker. The direct question sends a shudder of fear through the man. He is bewildered by her strange, unnerving confidence and composure. Believing she has the upper hand, Sina declares he will now obey her every command. With a sweet smile, she cheerfully chirps that she doesn't want to follow his lead. Her casual defiance enrages the man, his patience completely gone. He draws his massive sword, demanding she recognize the danger she is in. With a chilling smirk, she retorts that he is the one who needs to realize his position. A loud clang echoes as his huge sword is knocked from his grasp. He stares blankly, his mind struggling to process what just happened. In a dark alley, a bald man's eye is wide with shock, questioning what just happened. His heart pounds violently in his chest from the sudden, unseen attack. Clutching a bleeding wound, he screams in pain, unable to comprehend what hit him. Sina calmly walks away, leaving the stunned man behind on the cobblestones. She declares that terrifying her brother to such an extent is an unforgivable act. Her expression is cold as she explains his presence prevents them from sleeping soundly. The man shudders, a wave of pure terror washing over his face. His sword clatters uselessly to the ground as he curses his dire predicament. Trembling, he scrambles backward on his hands, pleading for her to wait a moment. Sina's hand rests on her sword's hilt, ready to draw it once more. Looming over him, she begins to deliver her final imposing verdict. The man realizes with horror that he made a grave mistake messing with these siblings. The dark, tense alley gives way to a peaceful town scene. The morning sun shines brightly on the quiet rooftops of the town. Gio spots his sister and calls out her name with a worried expression. He rushes toward her, demanding to know where she has been. After he frets about her safety, she casually mentions meeting the bald man. With a bright smile, she reassures him the man promised never to bother him again. Gio is left utterly bewildered by this impossible turn of events. He asks in disbelief if she was truly in no danger at all. A wave of profound relief washes over him, glad that she is safe. A seed of doubt is planted in his mind about what really happened. He wonders if the man simply decided to give up on his own. Or he considers perhaps Sina is actually absurdly strong. Dismissing the thought, he listens as she nonchalantly announces her plan to sleep. Gio looks at his sister, his expression thoughtful and concerned. He reaches out and gently pats her on the head. He thanks her sincerely but tells her she doesn't need to push herself so hard. Sina beams proudly, declaring she will always protect him no matter what. A warm smile on his face, he admits he's unsure how to feel about that. She playfully explains it's okay because he is both kind and weak. He can only let out a pained grunt as they walk home together. The scene transitions to the next morning under a bright sky. Sina is fast asleep in her bed, snoring soundly. Her brother Gio slams the door open, shouting for her to wake up. A large white creature named Milk is on her, and she complains about its weight. Still half asleep, she protests that she is on a break from adventuring. A sudden jolt of realization hits her as she remembers her important appointment. At a magnificent mansion, an impeccable butler welcomes the group of ladies. Sina and her friends look on with excited and curious expressions. They are in awe of the massive, opulent corridors of the castle. Lavish flower arrangements add to the overwhelming sense of grandeur. The adventurers whisper amongst themselves, feeling nervous about meeting the Lord. The blonde adventurer, Sifa, has something she wishes to discuss. However, their companion Marlene sways unsteadily, looking unwell. Overwhelmed by gloom, she mutters that she wants to go home. Her friends remind her the Lord acknowledged her contributions, but she wants Dennis. She wails that Dennis contributes daily by refreshing her. The butler announces that they have arrived and everyone is present. A silhouetted figure turns from a window, thanking them for coming. The woman turns with a graceful flourish, revealing herself to the girls. She introduces herself with regal poise as Lord Elizabeth Arso. A title card confirms her name and high station. The adventurers are immediately captivated by her stunning beauty. One of them gently scolds Sina for her rude outburst. Sifa feels a sense of familiarity, asking if they have met before. A small, knowing chuckle escapes Lord Elizabeth's lips. She confirms with a smile that they met just a few days ago. The Lord then greets the excellent apothecary she's heard so much about. Sifa and her friend's eyes widen as a realization begins to dawn. Elizabeth confirms their suspicion, revealing she is also the adventurer, Eliza. The girls are floored by the revelation that the Lord is the B-rank adventurer. Now seated on her throne, she explains she adventures to stay active. Her butler remarks on the unheard-of nature of a viscountess adventuring. The girls realize her party members are knights from the castle. Sifa asks if this is how she became B-rank, but the Lord says no. She recounts running away in her teens to travel the world as an adventurer. Her story takes a somber turn, recalling her older brother's death 5 years ago. She explains that she had no choice but to return home and take over the lordship. The adventurers are stunned by her personal and dramatic history. She apologizes for the lengthy tale, her expression wistful. Elizabeth reveals the true reason for the summons: to thank them for their contributions. The 4 young women look deeply honored by the Lord's praise. She adds that their conquest of the underwater area was also quite admirable. With a clap of her hands, she invites them to recount their saga over lunch. The Lord smiles warmly, ready to share a meal with her guests. A magnificent feast is laid out on the table, sparkling with opulence. Sina is practically drooling at the sight, earning a gentle scolding. Lord Elizabeth encourages them all to dig in and eat their fill. Sina examines a thick, juicy piece of meat with delight. She takes her first bite, her eyes closed in anticipation. Her eyes snap open, glowing with pure culinary bliss. She chomps away with unrestrained joy, declaring how delicious it is. The meat is so succulent it practically melts in her mouth. Sifa prepares to taste a flavorful and aromatic-looking soup. She takes a delicate sip from her spoon. Her expression softens with delight as she murmurs how tasty it is. Annie remarks on the high price of the fish dish, while Marlene squirms. As Annie eats, a thoughtful expression crosses her face. Sifa also notices the exceptional freshness and rich flavor of the ingredients. They both feel the taste reminds them of something familiar. The 3 adventurers share a silent, dawning realization. Lord Elizabeth asks if something is wrong with the food. Annie compliments the incredible quality of the ingredients themselves. With a wink, the Lord reveals she buys them from a puppet merchant. Annie immediately connects the secret source to her brother, Gio. A wave of shock ripples through the adventurers as they all realize the truth. Sifa is amazed that her brother's crops have reached the Lord's table. Annie thinks to herself that she knew it, wishing Gio could be there for the praise. She then glances at Marlene, who is gloomily chanting about missing Dennis. In a grand, sparkling dining hall, a magnificent feast among adventurers has concluded. Lord Elizabeth, their host, asks her guests if they have had their fill. The adventurers express their immense satisfaction, thanking the Lord for the delicious meal. With a warm smile, she announces her desire to present them with a reward. Sifa looks surprised, questioning the Lord's generous offer of a reward. The Lord confirms they can ask for anything they would like to have. She adds the condition that their request must be within the realm of possibility. The girls discuss what they could want, with Marlene making a comically absurd suggestion. A butler interrupts the proceedings, announcing the arrival of Miss Liruka. He explains that the merchant seems to be acquainted with her current guests. Sina recognizes the name, saying she has seen the merchant around her house. Understanding the connection, Lord Elizabeth instructs the butler to send the merchant in. Sifa watches the exchange, her expression thoughtful and serious as a plan forms. Before the butler can leave, Sifa stands and asks for a word. She performs a sudden deep bow before the surprised and curious Lord. Lord Elizabeth is taken aback, asking the reason for the sudden, formal gesture. Sifa expresses her profound gratitude, explaining that the Lord saved her father's smithy. She elaborates that the Lord placed an order for mithril weapons through Lyrica. A look of delighted realization dawns on Elizabeth's face as she understands. She explains that the purchase was something she simply agreed to, but was satisfied. The Lord gushes about how ecstatic she was to get such fine weapons cheaply. Her curiosity piqued, she asked Sifa how they procured such a large amount of mithril. Just then, Liruka cheerfully bounces into the room, greeting everyone with a wave. Lord Elizabeth greets the merchant by her full name, Liruka Lyria. She explains to Liruka that she just learned Sifa's family made the weapons. Elizabeth points out the inconsistency, asking if Liruka provided the unpaid-for mithril. Liruka laughs evasively, telling them not to worry about such minor details. The other adventurers stare, their expressions a mixture of suspicion and confusion. Their blank stares continue as they try to process the merchant's intense secrecy. Liruka's expression turns mischievous as she hints at a closely guarded secret. She winks and places a finger to her lips, asking for their silence. A shared thought flashes through the girls' minds of Geo growing mithril ore. Lord Elizabeth dismisses the mystery, asking Liruka her reason for visiting the castle. Liruka explains that she had heard the girls were invited over today. The Lord asks if the girls have decided on their reward, which they haven't. Liruka declares she has arrived just in time with an idea for them. She gathers the girls into a huddle and begins to whisper her plan. Lord Elizabeth watches from her throne, wondering what scheme Liruka is concocting. Marlene feels excluded from the secret conversation and wants to go home. Sina's eyes glow with excitement as she declares Liruka's idea is a great one. Annie and Sifa both voice their approval of the whispered plan as well. United, the four girls stand before the Lord to state their decision. The Lord listens with a serious expression as they begin to state their request. The scene cuts away, building suspense before their request is fully revealed. Far away, the sizzle of cooking food fills a humble, quiet home. Geo tells his large wolf-like pet Milk that it's time for their dinner. He muses that his friends must be enjoying a magnificent feast at the castle. He takes a bite of his own simple stir-fried meal with a chomp. Despite its simplicity, he declares his own food to be incredibly delicious. His thoughts return to his friends, still marveling that they were invited. He feels Sifa is gradually moving into a world beyond his own reach. He dismisses Sina's invitation as simple luck, feeling a distance from them. After eating, he decides to go do some work in his personal garden. He carries a basket of produce, planning his deliveries to Lucas and Liruka. He thoughtfully considers growing more herbs but laments his current lack of space. He walks through the lush, peaceful garden with Milk and a loyal golem. Sina's cheerful voice suddenly announces her return from her visit to the castle. Geo is surprised to hear Liruka and Annie's voices accompanying his sister. He panics, remembering that he has been keeping Milk a secret from everyone. He quickly instructs the large wolf-like creature to go hide in the garden. The group of girls walks up the path to his house, their footsteps thumping. Sifa apologizes for showing up uninvited, her expression gentle and kind. Geo's face lights up with pure, unadulterated joy at the sight of Sifa. He asks them why they aren't still at the castle as he expected. The girls smile, preparing to explain the reason for their sudden visit. He is shocked to learn they were given a plot of land by the Lord. Inside, they explain it was a piece of useless, uninhabited land. Sina cheerfully announces their intention to give the land to him as a gift. Geo is left utterly bewildered by this unexpected turn of events and news. He jumps up, flabbergasted that they would give their reward away to him. Liruka proudly takes credit for the idea, saying everyone else readily agreed. When he asks why, Annie firmly states there was nothing else they wanted. Sifa and Annie explain this is their way of thanking him for his help. They mention how he saved both Sifa's father's shop and Annie's sister's restaurant. A flustered Geo tries to downplay his role, insisting they did the hard work. Annie grabs him, preparing to make her point more forcefully and directly. She explains his achievements with the garden can't be made public knowledge. Liruka adds that this is a show of everyone's consideration for him. Sina tells him that while his garden is a secret, he is incredible. She affectionately calls him an incredible big brother, leaving him speechless. Geo looks at his friends, moved by their collective kindness and appreciation. A radiant smile spreads across his face as he thanks them all sincerely. He tells them nothing could make him happier than accepting their incredible gift. Sifa asks if he will be able to put the new land to good use. Geo considers how his garden size increases, confirming the land's usefulness. Suddenly, his pet milk appears with a soft pop, its tail flicking. The massive, white creature sits at the table as if it belongs there. Geo panics, realizing he had explicitly told his pet to go and hide. Liruka's eyes widen in terror as she identifies it as a snow panther. Sifa and Annie immediately swoop into defensive stances, ready for a fight. Geo flails his arms, desperately telling them to wait and that it's his pet. The girls freeze, confused by his claim that the dangerous monster is a pet. To prove his point, he throws his arms around the large, fluffy creature. The supposedly ferocious monster affectionately nuzzles against him, purring loudly. The girls stare, completely stunned that the creature is totally attached to him. Sina remarks that she had thought Milk seemed a bit too large for a cat. The other girls demand to know what's going on and where he got it. Realizing his secret is out, Geo prepares to tell them the whole truth. He reveals that his home garden skill allows him to grow monster eggs. Later, Annie expresses her concern about mass-producing monsters with such a skill. Sifa expresses her unwavering faith that Geo would never use his incredible power for evil. Her heart thumps as she delivers a serious warning to be more careful with his secret. A cheerful Liruka points towards the city gate, announcing their new venture. She explains the uninhabited land is crawling with monsters, making another girl nervous. The large area, she notes, will require a bit of a walk to reach. Sena and Sifa walk together, praising the Lord's generosity for having unused land. The entire group treks up a grassy hill toward the land their friends secured. Geo looks forward with an excited smile, eagerly anticipating what the land is like. After their journey, Liruka announces their arrival, wiping sweat from her brow. The landscape is revealed to be a dark, twisted, and utterly desolate swamp. Both Sifa and Sena stare in wide-eyed shock and disbelief at the grim sight. The chapter titled The Second Garden appears as the Lord recalls their request for land. In a flashback, the Lord thoughtfully considers their vague requirements for the property. The group acknowledges that they had agreed to the terms at the time, despite the outcome. Standing at the edge, Geo voices his disbelief at having received a swamp. Monstrous, leering creatures are seen lurking within the dark, murky water. His companions agree that this is definitely no place for growing any crops. Liruka notes the land fits their requirements and asks for Geo's opinion. He swallows nervously, wondering if he can possibly grow anything in this place. A holographic prompt appears, asking if he would like to designate a garden. An ethereal light begins to sparkle and spread across the murky swamp water. A brilliant grid of light erupts, transforming the entire landscape with a powerful glow. The dark water and twisted trees vanish in an instant with a soft sound. He turns to his stunned friends, confidently declaring that the land will be just fine. A system message confirms that the new garden has been successfully designated. His companions can only stare, utterly bewildered by the sudden and miraculous change. With a radiant smile, Geo exclaims that the newly formed garden is perfect. He muses that the first pioneers would be furious at his easy success. The massive, perfectly gridded garden stretches out, far larger than he expected. A status window reveals his garden space has increased over 200 times. He admits that he honestly cannot imagine how he would use all the space. With the land secured, he begins to ponder what he should plant first. He reflects that he got this garden thanks to his friend's hard work. A sudden idea strikes him, his eyes lighting up with a spark of inspiration. His friends watch, confused, as he affirms his new plan to himself. He continues to nod with growing excitement, repeating yes with conviction. His companions whisper among themselves, having no idea what he's talking about. Sifa spots the displaced swamp monsters creeping onto the pristine garden's edge. Sina moves to protect Geo, guessing the creatures are angry about losing their homes. Geo remains perfectly calm, waving a hand and telling them not to worry. He invokes his skill, Mega Guardian Creation, and a golem erupts from the ground. His friends cry out in shock as the monsters tremble in absolute terror. He calmly decides to make a few more since the garden is so big. 2 Mega Guardians effortlessly exterminate the terrified monsters for them. His companions are left completely stunned and speechless by this display of power. With the immediate threat handled, Geo considers his next move for the garden. He generates a massive defensive wall to protect the new sprawling property. Then he activates a skill to conceal the entire area from outside view. He notices his travel between gardens skill and has a sudden, brilliant idea. With a cheerful wave, he announces he'll be right back and teleports away. The girls are left standing in stunned silence, utterly flabbergasted by his disappearance. Annie blushes with frustration, muttering about the absurdity of the situation. Sifa comforts her, advising that thinking too much about it is useless. Geo reappears in a flash of light in his familiar, smaller home garden. He triumphantly confirms that he can indeed travel between his two gardens. Deciding to bring food, he's joined by his large, wolf-like pet, Milk. He asks the curious Milk if it would like to come along with him. With Milk's agreement, he prepares to teleport them both back to the new garden. He places a hand on Milk's back and activates his travel skill once again. They reappear in the new garden, much to the shock and surprise of his friends. Milk lets out an excited meow, its eyes sparkling at the vast new space. Geo tells his pet it can run freely here, noting its recent growth. His friends hurry over, demanding an explanation for what he just did. He casually explains his ability to instantly travel between the different gardens. A golem signals that the monsters have all been successfully eradicated. Geo presents 2 enormous platters of fresh meat and assorted vegetables. He suggests a celebratory barbecue, much to the delight of his surprised friends. A massive skewer of meat sizzles on the grill as they prepare to dig in. The friends enjoy their barbecue under the wide-open sky, savoring the tasty food. They all chuckle together, enjoying the peaceful, celebratory meal. A red-haired girl points in surprise, telling the others to look at something. The garden bustles with new life as something begins to bloom across the field. Tightly closed flower buds begin to unfurl with a soft, delicate sound. A beautiful daisy-like flower opens its petals in a display of instant creation. The girls marvel at the full field of flowers that has suddenly appeared. Geo smiles warmly, explaining this is his way of thanking them for their help. His friends are touched by his considerate and beautiful gesture of gratitude. Sifa, blushing slightly, thanks him for the beautiful and breathtaking sight. Milk bounds into the scene, meowing loudly and startling a blushing Geo. A small empty panel serves as a transition between scenes. Geo decides to name his properties First Garden and Second Garden for clarity. He reflects on giving the flowers to Laruka before getting to work. He stands before a massive pile of slain monsters, pondering his next move. Laruka notes that swamp monsters yield only low-value, worthless materials. He considers having his golems simply dispose of the monster bodies. A system prompt suddenly appears, asking if he wants to absorb the monsters. Confused but curious, he decides to try the mysterious absorb function. The monster bodies vanish in a flash of light, much to his shock. His garden levels up, just as it does when he uses magic stones. He realizes his garden must be absorbing the magic stones inside the monsters. A thoughtful look crosses his face as he connects the dots and understands. He understands that defeating monsters is a new way to level up his garden. Fragrant smoke begins to waft from several cones placed on the ground. Geo waves away the thick smoke, thinking he might have used too many. He proudly presents the monster-attracting incense from Marlene's apothecary. He briefly worries about Marlene, who has seemed unwell since the castle visit. With his preparations complete, he retracts a section of his defensive wall. The alluring smoke from the incense wafts out into the nearby wilderness. In the tall grass, a large bear-like monster's ear twitches at the scent. The bears charge through the opening as Geo orders his golem to attack. A heavily armored golem smashes its fist into a bear monster. The defeated beast collapses to the ground, knocked out cold. A system prompt asks Geo if he wants to absorb the monsters. With a soft whoosh, the monster's body dissolves into light. A notification pops into view, announcing a level up for his garden. Geo smiles brightly, thrilled that his new method is a success. Another level up notification appears in a celebratory flash. Standing beside his golem, Geo explains his newly devised great plan. First, he uses special incense to attract monsters to his location. Next, he has his powerful stone golem kill all of them. Finally, his home garden absorbs their bodies to gain experience. He cheerfully outlines his perfect, repeatable, automated leveling system. Geo reflects that he can now level up his garden without Sina's help. Filled with excitement, he wonders how many more monsters will come. The scene shifts to a vast, peaceful mountain and forest landscape. A few days later, his enormous, gridded garden complex is shown. The perspective zooms out many kilometers west of the city of Arcel. A swift, dynamic motion swoops through the dark, dense woods. This is the infamous and dangerous monster-infested Forest of Death. At the edge of the forest, a group of adventurers has made camp. A younger adventurer suggests exploring deeper, but his companion advises caution. The veteran warns that the mana grows more dense further in. Suddenly, loud crashing sounds erupt from deep within the woods. A chaotic scene shows monsters fleeing in panic through the undergrowth. A dark cat-like beast screeches as it crashes through the trees. The desperate flight of countless creatures continues through the forest. Another group of adventurers feels strange tremors through the ground. A woman with fox-like ears senses a sound coming from the forest. She realizes the rumbling is not the ground, but something else. With dawning horror, she identifies it as the sound of running. A massive monster stampede bursts from the trees in a chaotic wave. Having escaped, the adventurers marvel at the incredible number of beasts. The leader, realizing the danger, orders a rider to warn everyone. He notes the stampede is heading directly east on its current path. He screams in terror, realizing the city of Arcel is in grave danger. In her office, Lord Elizabeth sighs wearily over a stack of paperwork. She wishes she could be exploring a dungeon instead of handling contracts. Her attendant arrives, presenting a heaping pile of more documents. The attendant then prepares to give her a new, separate report. He begins to speak about the strange and mysterious swamp matter. With a dramatic boom, he reveals the entire area is now an empty lot. His report states all life has vanished and an invisible wall appeared. The Lord theorizes that someone has erected an advanced barrier there. She reflects on her decision to give the girls that land as a test. Her eye narrows as she resolves to protect her domain if they are dangerous. Her attendant feels a chill from her sudden, intense determination. However, she trusts Sifa and her friends not to cause any harm. She decides to simply monitor the area for the time being. She prepares to return to the tedious task of signing documents. A guard suddenly slams the door open, shouting bad news. He frantically reports a massive monster stampede is approaching them. The stampede hurtles across the landscape, aimed at the city. Meanwhile, Geo peacefully tends to his vast new garden complex. He stands before his system, having just absorbed the local monsters. He wonders if he has now killed every single monster in the area. A cheerful notification announces that his garden has reached level 31. He puzzles over an infinity symbol now on his garden space limit. He learns a new skill, an evolution of his defensive wall generator. He wonders if this means he can now create even bigger walls. A prompt asks if he wants to generate a new castle wall. He agrees, and a powerful flash of light fills the garden. A massive, imposing castle wall erupts from the ground with a boom. He marvels that these walls might be even better than Arcel's. A small, thoughtful smile crosses his face as he assesses his creation. Deciding the wall is unnecessary, he makes it vanish just as quickly. He walks with his companion Milk, planning his next harvest. He pauses, hearing a faint commotion coming from the distant city. In the city streets, people are screaming and running for shelter. Stepping out, Geo is confused by the sudden citywide pandemonium. A guard tells him a stampede is coming right for the city. The guard explains the grave danger the entire city is in. Geo realizes the situation is far more serious than he imagined. He remembers that Sina and her friends just left on an adventure. He tells his companion Milk that he can't take him to a shelter. He calmly reassures Milk they can teleport to safety if needed. He recalls the guard mentioning the stampede is at the west gate. He decides to use a mega golem to survey the situation. With a swoosh, he effortlessly climbs onto the golem's shoulder. He peers over the city wall, looking for the source of the chaos. He is stunned by the huge number of monsters charging the city. On the wall, soldiers report the stampede is within view. Lord Elizabeth rallies her troops, vowing to protect the city. She grits her teeth, frustrated by the lack of available adventurers. A soldier reports that not everyone is pessimistic about their chances. He confirms 200 soldiers are equipped with new mithril gear. The soldiers draw their shining swords, their spirits high and ready. A commander orders them into formation for a concentrated offensive. He declares they must hold the line against the horde no matter what. The front line of monstrous beasts lets out a ferocious, unified roar. The initial clash between soldiers and monsters is a massive explosion. The soldiers cry out as the brutal battle begins in earnest. Atop the battlements, Lord Elizabeth braces herself as the very wall quakes. Her face is tight with deep concern for her soldiers below. A soldier lands a powerful, arching slash on a large beast. He marvels at the incredible sharpness of his new mithril sword. Another monster, a ferocious, wolf-like creature, snarls aggressively. A soldier grunts in pain as he is struck by a powerful blow. A comrade rushes to his side, asking if he is okay. The soldier confirms he is, his shield smoking from the impact. He reports that both his shield and armor held firm. A commander praises the durability of the new mithril equipment before ordering his mages to fire. The battlefield erupts in explosions as the magic unit unleashes a volley of fireballs. A massive bear-like monster crashes to the ground, defeated by the powerful magical assault. Soldiers gaze upon the field littered with fallen monsters, a flicker of hope igniting among them. The commander grimly acknowledges that despite their success, they will not escape without taking damage. He turns to a subordinate, asking if the healing potions are ready for the wounded. The subordinate presents a massive crate of potions, explaining the Lord had stocked them for emergencies. A new terrifying wave of ferocious monsters, including bears and bulls, roars as it approaches. The monster horde swells in number as reinforcements from the rear catch up to the front. With the front line under pressure, the commander orders the wounded back and fresh troops forward. On the chaotic battlefield, a call for medics goes out as soldiers tend to the fallen. A medic kneels by a gravely injured soldier who apologizes for falling in battle. The medic presses a hand to the soldier's torso, assessing the grievous injury. His eyes widen in horror as he realizes the wound has cut all the way to the bone. Recognizing the injury is fatal, he knows a mid-grade potion shouldn't work but must try anyway. He uncorks a potion bottle, his face tense with a desperate plea for it to work. A brilliant warm light erupts from the soldier's wound as the potion takes effect. The magical energy of the potion quickly knits the flesh back together with a soft hiss. Stunned, the medic stammers in disbelief, asking if the wound has completely healed. The revived soldier stands amazed, asking if a rare high-grade potion was used on him. Declaring himself saved, he announces he can immediately return to the fight, inspiring others. With morale restored, a group of soldiers charges back into the fray with a battle cry. The medic and his comrades are left flabbergasted by the potion's impossible power. He looks at the empty bottle, certain they were only supposed to be mid-grade potions. Inside a crowded church shelter, Marlene expresses her discomfort with the clamoring masses. A mother tries to comfort her small child, who is crying loudly in pain. Dennis approaches, asking what's wrong as the mother explains her daughter fell while running. The little girl looks up with tear-filled eyes, her mother watching with concern. Dennis kneels down, rummaging in his pouch and reassuring the girl that everything will be okay. He gently drips the contents of a potion bottle onto the child's scraped knee. The wound glows and the girl exclaims in wonder that the pain is completely gone. Dennis explains the apothecary made it, while Marlene mutters that the ingredients are the amazing part. The little girl beams with a bright, happy smile, thanking the Miss Apothecary. Her thanks to Miss Maid leaves Dennis in a state of comical shock. Dennis blushes furiously, lamenting being seen in his uniform as the crowd murmurs. A woman named Alicia calmly reassures the crowd, telling them not to panic. She thanks Marlene for helping, who dismisses it as a necessity in an emergency. Alicia offers to take a box of supplies as she organizes the shelter. A burly, bearded man named Billy arrives, calling out to Alicia with concern. They discuss the chaos, relieved to hear their friend Sifa is safely away on an adventure. Alicia's expression turns worried as she notes she hasn't seen Gio anywhere. Billy is momentarily surprised by the news of Gio's absence. They both reason that he must be in a different shelter, not at his home. Looking out the window, Alicia wonders if the town will be okay. Billy hopes the armor and weapons he recently supplied to the castle are proving useful. He concludes that all they can do is pray as the battle rages outside. On the ramparts, the Lord notes her troops are holding on thanks to the equipment and potions. However, she doubts they can withstand a unified assault from the entire monster pack. Her eyes narrow with dread as she senses an additional, more powerful threat. She realizes with alarm that powerful individuals with different presences have arrived on the battlefield. A massive, bladed-maned battle Leo emerges from the horde, its power palpable. A colossal blood elephant with wicked tusks joins the fray, a living siege engine. An armored behemoth of a killer scorpion crashes onto the scene, its presence menacing. A commander despairs, questioning if his troops can defeat these A-rank monsters alone. The battle Leo lets out a ferocious roar, its eyes glowing as it charges forward. The Lord cries out in alarm, realizing the beast is heading directly for her. The monster closes the distance in an instant, its heavy paws thudding on the ground. It smashes through the soldiers' line, who cry out that they must intercept it. The soldiers' mithril armor shatters like glass under the monster's overwhelming power. One soldier screams in terror as the battle Leo's massive fanged maw lunges at him. In a blur of motion, the Lord swoops down from the wall to intercept the beast. Her soldiers cry out her title in shock as she lands a powerful blow. A soldier warns her to be careful, noting this monster is different from the others. Another soldier urges her to retreat, but she insists she is aware of the danger. She declares she can no longer just watch as the blood elephant crashes through the lines. The Lord stares in disbelief, realizing the elephant is charging the city gate. The massive beast smashes through soldiers, intent on breaking down the main gate. Its face is a mask of fury as it barrels towards the wooden doors. The Lord grits her teeth, amazed by the creature's massive size and power. She knows that at this rate, the defenses will not hold. She realizes with horror that the monsters are about to flood into the city. The sounds of smashing echo as the city's peace is about to be shattered. Watching from a high vantage point, Gio's heart pounds as he realizes things look bad. He understands it's only a matter of time before the monsters break through. His companion Milk urges him to flee, and he agrees they should get out. He looks over the city filled with anguish at the thought of it being destroyed. In a shelter, citizens watch the chaos, the sounds of smashing reaching them. Billy grimly states that even the shelters might not hold against such a large horde. Gio's body trembles with a mixture of fear and frustration. His heart pounds in his chest as he feels utterly helpless. His despair transforms into resolve as he declares there must still be something he can do. He asks his companion Milk if it will come with him, and it meows in agreement. A plan forms as he decides to use his skill to travel to his second garden. He and Milk race through the city streets towards a large golem-like statue. Their destination is the West Gate, where the fighting is thickest. Gio places his hand on the statue, preparing to activate his power. The word "move" appears on his interface, confirming his audacious plan. A system prompt appears, asking if he would like to move the garden. His face set with determination, he gives his consent. The ground bulges with immense power as his garden begins to move. Deep in a dungeon, a young woman named Sina feels a strange rumbling. Her companion asks if something is wrong, but she dismisses it as a simple tremor. As her party ventures deeper, she quietly grumbles about being hungry. She mumbles to herself that she wants to go home and eat Gio's food. Back on the moving garden, Gio urges it to its maximum speed. He tells his companion Milk to hold on tight as they hurtle through the air. He can see the smoke and chaos of the stampede near the West Gate. He worries about the soldiers seeing his garden, but knows he has no time for that. He deactivates the garden's concealment, causing a section to materialize from thin air. He wonders if he can conceal just himself, then steals his resolve for what comes next. Standing on his moving plot of land, Gio looks at a screen, unsure if his preparations will suffice. With a great roar of motion, he commits to his plan of action and surges forward. Meanwhile, a colossal elephant monster smashes against the city gate amidst panicked screams from below. The massive wooden gate groans and splinters under the assault, on the verge of complete collapse. Outside the walls, a ferocious bear monster roars as soldiers struggle to reform their lines. A commander rallies his troops, urging them not to give up against the charging bulls. The monstrous beast let out a furious, deafening roar across the chaotic battlefield. Lord Elizabeth fiercely engages a giant scorpion, cursing the beast as their weapons clash. She grimly observes that the monster's frenzy shows no signs of weakening at all. Elizabeth realizes with dread that her forces cannot hold the line for much longer. A soldier on the battlement spots a strange sight on the horizon, questioning it aloud. Startled by the soldier's cry, Elizabeth looks up, fearing more monsters are approaching. An impossibly large wall is seen rapidly closing in on the battlefield from afar. The structure rumbles across the plains with staggering, earth-shaking force toward the city. The blonde commander stares in utter disbelief, unable to process the impossible sight. Her soldiers clamor in confusion and terror, questioning what the moving wall is. Her mind whirls with questions, wondering if this impossible wall is friend or foe. As the roaring wall bears down on them, she screams for her soldiers to run. Elizabeth and her soldiers are stunned when they realize the wall itself just spoke. Realizing it must be an ally, she quickly orders all her troops to withdraw immediately. The soldiers scramble to obey, fleeing from the charging monster horde behind them. From his vantage point, Gio is relieved they understood, focusing on the monsters. He knows he must act with haste to intercept them before the gate breaks. The ground shudders as he wills a massive defensive wall into existence. The charging monsters are brought up short, surprised by the sudden new obstacle. With a tremendous bash, the wall slams directly into the front of the horde. Monsters are sent flying, crying out in agony as they are brutally crushed. The sheer force of the impact reverberates through the entire monstrous pack. The wave of destruction continues, smashing through the ranks of the stampede. Countless beasts collide with the unyielding surface, their charge brought to a halt. The shockwave is so powerful that even the retreating soldiers are thrown off balance. A vast, gridded stone platform completes its formation in front of the gate. The colossal structure lies like a giant stone lid, wreathed in dust and smoke. Elizabeth stares in bewilderment, realizing the thunderous charge has completely stopped. She struggles to comprehend the sheer scale of the event that just unfolded. As the dust begins to settle, the silence on the battlefield is eerie. A soldier points out that the single charge wiped out nearly half the horde. The soldiers' shock quickly turns to elation, and they erupt in a roaring cheer. They celebrate their miraculous salvation, amazed to have survived the 1,000-strong herd. Amidst the cheering, Elizabeth remains thoughtful, a peculiar detail catching her attention. She feels that the mysterious wall has somehow grown even taller than before. Atop the wall, Gio sighs in relief but notes he can't see below. Below, Elizabeth gasps as she sees the massive structure suddenly begin to shrink. Gio strains to keep his balance as the stone platform shifts beneath his feet. The commander gasps, her eyes wide with surprise at the wall's strange behavior. An enormous elephant monster, a survivor of the charge, trembles with pure rage. Gio is surprised to see that one of the colossal beasts is still alive. Elizabeth and her soldiers react instantly, drawing their swords to face the tenacious foe. She acknowledges that while the gate is blocked, a powerful enemy still remains. With a deafening roar, the beast smashes its body against the stone wall. The soldiers cry out in alarm as the monster relentlessly attacks the new barrier. Gio calmly looks over the edge of the wall at the attacking creature. With a confident smile and a snap of his fingers, he invites it inside. The section of the wall the monster is attacking begins to give way. Caught off guard, the roaring elephant stumbles forward through the new opening. Elizabeth and her soldiers watch in stunned silence, their eyes wide with confusion. Two enormous, blocky mega golems emerge from the bulging section of the wall. Gio points a commanding finger at the beast and issues a single, sharp order. The mega golems descend upon the elephant, their stone fists ready to strike. They pummel the beast with incredible force, landing thunderous blows across its face. Gio watches with satisfaction as his guardians overwhelm the monster with their assault. He then tosses glowing lures to draw the surviving monsters into his trap. A powerful lion monster and other beasts are drawn in by the lures. The remaining creatures charge forward, falling for the bait and entering the enclosure. More mega golems bulge from the walls, ready to meet the new wave. The lion monster is immediately swarmed, its ferocious power no match for the golems. Another golem smashes a scorpion-like creature, its exoskeleton cracking under the force. The other monsters suffer the same fate, broken by the guardian's overwhelming strength. Elizabeth watches in horrified awe as every monster is systematically slaughtered within the walls. A soldier reports the unbelievable sight of giant golems wiping out the monsters. With a cheerful salute, Gio notes that the monsters have been mostly eliminated. He looks over the pile of vanquished foes, acknowledging their strength. He proudly pats his golem, praising its expected and complete victory over them. Geo and Milk survey the carnage, glad that the problem has finally been settled. Suddenly, Milk lets out a vicious hiss, its body going rigid with alarm. Geo is startled by its sudden agitation, asking what is wrong with it. A loud crashing sound erupts from the wall behind him as it is breached. His confident expression vanishes, replaced by one of pure, unadulterated shock. A new brutishly muscular figure smashes through the stone fortification from outside. A bead of sweat forms as he stares at the new imposing enemy. The soldiers and their commander are equally stunned by this unexpected new arrival. Soldiers identify the beast as an atlas, a powerful variant of a cyclops. The gargantuan monster stands at least 20 meters tall, radiating immense power. Elizabeth realizes that a powerful monster like this can incite a stampede. She concludes with certainty that this beast is the true cause of the attack. The ground booms with its steps, and Geo realizes the situation is dire. The massive creature advances, its heavy footfalls shaking the very earth beneath it. He panics, feeling utterly helpless against a monster of such incredible scale. His first instinct is to reinforce the wall, a thought that seems hopelessly inadequate. The Atlas lets out a deafening roar as it prepares to smash everything. Its colossal fist descends with terrifying speed, impacting the ground with a boom. Geo is shocked to see his golems marching forward to intercept the giant. The Atlas effortlessly grabs one of the stone golems by its head. It roars as it demonstrates its overwhelming strength against the smaller construct. Geo watches in horror as the golem is crushed, realizing they are outmatched. Having destroyed the golem, the Atlas turns its malevolent gaze directly on Geo. A wave of pure terror washes over him, and he flinches instinctively. The monster begins its heavy, crashing advance directly towards his precarious position. He realizes he could easily escape using his travel between gardens skill. But if he flees, he knows the monster will lay waste to the city. Wrestling with his conscience, Geo initially prioritizes his own life in a moment of panic. Suddenly, a system prompt appears, asking if he wants to absorb the fallen monsters. He decides to risk it, shouting his agreement as the hulking Atlas charges closer. All at once, the monster corpses on the ground dissolve into particles of shimmering light. His hallowed ground levels up dramatically, unlocking the ability to cultivate new crops. He learns a new evolved skill, Giga Guardian Creation, which fills him with hope. Geo accepts the prompt to create the new Guardian, praying it can defeat the beast. A pool of dark sludge bubbles and bulges, beginning to form a new creature. Watching from afar, the blonde commander wonders what new development is now unfolding. The dark substance continues to coalesce with a wet squelching sound. The commander realizes with surprise that another golem is being formed. The completed Giga Golem, massive and armored, stands before the stunned Atlas. Its immense size is confirmed to be on par with the monstrous Atlas. The Atlas glares at its new challenger and lets out a furious roar. The Giga Golem's glowing yellow eyes stare back impassively, ready for battle. The two titans collide, their fists meeting with a deafening slam. Perched on the golem's shoulder, Geo marks the start of the epic duel. The two behemoths are locked in a brutal shoving match for dominance. The blonde commander and her soldiers watch the unbelievable sight in awe. A soldier expresses his earlier fear that their city, Arcel, was doomed. He speculates that the golem must be an ally since it stopped the Atlas. The commander grimly assesses the situation with a bead of sweat. She knows her forces have no way to stop such a colossal monster. The soldiers stand by, their expressions a mix of awe and helplessness. One soldier clasps his hands, whispering a desperate prayer for victory. The army's pleas echo as the giants battle before the city walls. The Atlas roars, pouring its full strength into the struggle. It begins to push the Giga Golem back with immense force. The golem's feet dig into the earth as it strains against the pressure. Its stone feet carve deep trenches into the ground under the strain. Geo shouts encouragement, urging his Giga Golem to keep fighting. The golem lands a devastating punch squarely on the Atlas's face. Staggering back, the Atlas cries out in pain and surprise from the blow. The Giga Golem unleashes a furious barrage of powerful pummeling punches. Geo and the soldiers erupt in a massive cheer, their spirits soaring. The blonde commander shudders, witnessing the golem's incredible destructive power. Unseen, another horned, three-eyed monster glares at the scene with malice. A smaller, tusked monster is sent reeling from a powerful blow. The strike comes from a stout, heavily armored golem that appeared. The soldiers and Geo watch in shock at the sudden arrival of another ally. The golem is immediately crushed under the monster's powerful fists. The monster stamps on the golem, shattering its stone body. The golem trembles as the final, crushing blows rain down upon it. A cruel smirk spreads across the monster's face as it triumphs. With a final, furious bash, the monster obliterates the golem. Geo cries out the golem's name in alarm and disbelief. The golem's form is completely annihilated in a flurry of violent impacts. Its stone body crumbles into a pile of useless rubble. The soldiers who had been inspired now watch in utter horror. The last remnants of the golem are destroyed in a flash of violence. A piece of the golem's leg armor clatters to the ground. The impact kicks up a small cloud of dust. The soldiers are completely defeated, one murmuring a prayer. The blonde commander stands with her troops, surrounded by despair. Her eyes flash with resolve as she declares it is not over yet. The victorious monster is suddenly struck from its blind side. A powerful bash sends the creature stumbling in surprise. A fierce beast woman tears into the monster with her sharp claws. The monster is left stunned and disoriented, panting heavily. Another golem erupts from the earth, identical to the one destroyed. The commander cries out in disbelief at the appearance of a new golem. Geo is perched casually on the shoulder of the newly formed golem. With a confident grin, he announces he can make as many as he wants. He dramatically summons an even larger Giga Golem to the battlefield. A portly ogre finds itself completely surrounded by smaller golems. Its face is a picture of pure terror as it realizes it is trapped. Geo points a decisive finger forward, ordering his creations to attack. The golems surge forward, their movements synchronized and purposeful. They swarm the terrified ogre, grabbing its limbs with immense force. The Giga Golem smashes another monster with overwhelming power. A one-horned beast sinks its teeth into a golem's arm. It receives a punishing counterblow from another golem in return. The soldiers watch in awe as the golem army fights relentlessly. The one-horned creature is sent flying by a heavy blow, crying out in agony. The mighty Atlas begins to falter, exhausted and swarmed by golems. The golems converge on the downed one-horned creature. It is buried under an avalanche of stone in a final crushing blow. Geo and his white wolf-like beast watch the battle unfold. The soldiers cautiously approach the now silent battlefield. The massive, unmoving body of the Atlas lies on the ground. A soldier tentatively pokes the creature's face with his sword. There is no response. A profound silence hangs in the air. The realization dawns and the soldiers erupt into a triumphant cheer. They swarm around the fallen body of the Atlas, their joy palpable. Cries of "It's a miracle" and "We've been saved" echo across the field. A soldier formally reports their victory to the blonde commander. She looks out over the field of vanquished foes, relieved. An image of two massive golems flashes in her mind, the protectors of Arsal. She wonders why these powerful constructs are helping them. She contemplates who could possibly possess enough mana to create such beings. A massive, grid-patterned wall scrapes against the earth as it retracts. The soldiers watch in awe, one asking if they should give chase. The wall vanishes completely with a final whoosh of displaced air. The commander and her troops stand amidst the scarred landscape. The wall disappears, leaving behind only a wide, barren trench. A soldier asks the commander about the fate of the golems in Atlas. She declares their first priority is to assess the damage to the area. The commander gazes at the distant cliff where the wall vanished. A sudden, impossible theory about its origin flashes through her mind. Miles away, the same structure settles as traveling mode deactivates. Utterly spent from the battle, Geo collapses to his knees in exhaustion. He gazes at the fallen Atlas, grateful for his timely acquisition of the Giga Guardian skill. His companion Milk affectionately licks his face as he thanks it for being so reassuring. His gloved hand rests on Milk's fur, a moment of quiet connection between them. With a small smile, he admits how reckless he was to think he could handle it alone. The strain of the day's events finally overwhelms him, and he sways, completely drained. The next morning, the sun rises peacefully over the rooftops of the walled city. In the town square, citizens begin to emerge, their chatter filling the air. People express their relief that the evacuation order is lifted, noting only the west gate was damaged. Gio overhears them, a deep sense of relief washing over him that everyone is safe. He arrives at Luca's restaurant, pushing the door open to call out a good morning to Alicia. Without warning, Alicia rushes forward and pulls him into a tight, emotional hug. With a blush, she confesses that she had been worried sick about his safety. He sheepishly explains that he was at a different shelter, much to her relief. Alicia gently chides him for making a delivery so soon after the monster attack. He explains that harvesting fresh produce every morning is simply a habit for him. With a flourish, he presents a bounty of fresh eggs, impressing Alicia with their quality. Alicia kindly offers to make him breakfast as a treat before the restaurant opens. He initially hesitates, but she insists, placing a friendly hand on his shoulder. She expresses her desire to thank him for all the help he consistently provides. With a small, grateful smile, he finally agrees to take her up on the offer. The quiet, sunlit exterior of the restaurant sets a peaceful morning scene. Alicia soon returns from the kitchen, thanking him for waiting as she brings his meal. She proudly presents the dish, announcing it as the Lucas Special Pancakes. Gio's eyes light up with delight, exclaiming how wonderful the steaming plate of food smells. Thanking her, he prepares to dig in as she wishes him a good meal. His knife and fork slice effortlessly through the steaming, fluffy pancakes. He holds up a piece on his fork, marveling at its incredible fluffiness. He brings the first bite of the special breakfast to his mouth, full of anticipation. His expression melts into pure bliss as he savors the wonderful flavor. A tiny version of him melts on a giant pancake, overwhelmed by its softness. He takes another bite, this one including crispy bacon and rich, runny egg yolk. He chomps down, completely engrossed in the delicious combination of flavors. With his cheeks full, he declares he can't get enough of the perfect pairing. While eating, he praises Alicia's excellent cooking, though she credits his ingredients. He smiles brightly, stating he would happily eat this meal every single morning. His heartfelt compliment flusters Alicia, whose heart pounds as she misinterprets his words. Gio quickly clarifies he wasn't being serious, causing her to slump in comical disappointment. He takes a quiet sip from his cup, his thoughts turning to the previous day's events. He reflects on how challenging and dangerous the battle against the Atlas had been. The image of the fluffy, sweet, and warm food appears in his mind. He smiles, finding the simple, delicious meal to be incredibly refreshing after the ordeal. Suddenly, the restaurant door bursts open as his adventurer friends make their boisterous return. He asks if they just got back from their adventure, as they explain they were hungry. Alicia greets Annie with a welcoming and enthusiastic hug. She promises to whip something up for the starving adventurers right away. Sifa looks around thoughtfully, noting that the city seems different than usual. Gio smiles knowingly, telling the three of them that they missed all the action yesterday. The three girls look on, their expressions curious about what he could possibly mean. They are shocked to hear about the monster stampede of 1,000 beasts. Sina asks if he is okay, and he calmly confirms that he is unharmed. The girls express their disbelief that the entire city wasn't destroyed by such a major event. Sifa proudly notes she heard the soldiers fought bravely with weapons her father had supplied. Alicia adds that rumor has it some truly unbelievable things also happened during the fight. She relays the story of a giant wall that appeared out of nowhere to stop the monsters. She continues, mentioning strange golems that arrived to fight the colossal pack leader. Beneath the table, Gio and Annie, who knows his secret, share a nervous glance. Their worried expressions go unnoticed by the others as the story continues. Gio's heart pounds as he realizes with horror that the story spreading like wildfire is about him. He panics internally, realizing he's been deified as the sender of God's emissaries. His adventurer friends, however, dismiss the story as too outrageous to be true. Annie turns to him with a sly smile, teasingly asking if it was his garden. Gio twitches nervously, trying to play along with her pointed joke. He stammers a non-committal agreement, hoping to deflect any real suspicion. Alicia returns with food, admitting that she too is skeptical of the wild rumors. She confesses she was truly worried that the restaurant would be destroyed in the attack. She expresses her deep happiness that they can spend time peacefully together again. Bringing a large covered dish, she says all she can do is thank the city's mysterious saviors. Gio listens to her heartfelt words with a quiet, thoughtful expression. Sina happily eats, crediting the delicious food to those miraculous emissaries. Annie agrees, glad that the restaurant's wonderful flavor was preserved. She turns to ask Gio for his opinion, but he seems lost in thought. A quiet thought reveals the secret. Everything is thanks to his home garden. Alicia admits that during the crisis, she had seriously considered running away. Gio takes a decisive bite of his own food, the sound sharp and clear. A bright, genuine smile spreads across his face as he declares the meal is great. In a sweeping view of the peaceful town, he thinks to himself he is glad he didn't run. The group leaves Lucas, thanking Alicia for the wonderful meal. Gio waves goodbye, announcing his intention to finally head home. The group stands outside the restaurant, ready to part ways for the day. Suddenly, Annie's hand firmly grabs his shoulder, stopping him in his tracks. She tells him they have something to talk about before he leaves. They arrive at the site of the battle, standing before the colossal body of the Atlas. Sifa confirms that this is indeed the pack leader of the stampede. Annie states with certainty that she knew he had a hand in this. In a flashback, he explains how he first deployed his moving garden. He continues, showing how he erected a massive wall to stop the monster horde. Finally, he reveals how he summoned his powerful golems to join the fight. Sheepishly, he admits he just kept helping with his garden while making sure to hide himself. Sina scolds him, realizing all the rumors were about him and calling his actions too dangerous. She acknowledges, however, that the city is safe because of him. Gio laughs bashfully, accepting their mixture of concern and gratitude. Annie gestures to the massive corpse, asking what they should do with the unsafe monster. He offers to get rid of it via absorption, which surprises Sina. They debate the issue, weighing the potential profit against the unwanted attention. Gio realizes all he truly wants is the magic stone and decides to consult Liruka. He considers how using the Atlas's magic stone could greatly level up his garden. The girls look at his garden, with Annie remarking how outrageous it's all becoming.